Hey everybody, this is Josh Runquist here for the Heavy Debriefings podcast, episode 95, which I can't believe we've made 94 additional episodes since the beginning.
It doesn't seem real.
No, it doesn't, especially over the course of the last week.
Yeah.
This is Josh Runquist here, along with the Practical Goth, the Flea Brain, the Caretaker, the Betrayer of Trust, so many different... Oh, and the Keebler of Seven Keys. Yeah. Also known as the Metal Faerie.
Yeah, that's me. Hey, everybody.
How's it going?
It's going okay. I just got back from my bi-weekly excursion, and I'm a little tired. I'm a little achy, a little headachy, but I am hanging in here, and I'm ready to have a fun show.
All right. Well, hopefully we got some good stuff to talk about. We got a lot of stuff to catch up on in our past week's /news. We got our top 10 voice actors.
We do.
Which I'm kind of amazed you wanted to do this, as this is something you've never really paid attention to.
Yeah, I mean, I've had a few that I've, known of, of course, throughout the years, but I just thought it was a fun well to go down.
And then, of course, we have Hot Sexy Singles and OT&WIM, but we might as well rip off the Band-Aid. We almost broke up this past week.
It was a rough week. Yeah.
There were some good things that happened.
Yeah.
But, of course, it was kind of like a compliment sandwich, if you will.
Yeah.
Some good things started it off.
Uh-huh.
Then a whole load of shit.
Yes.
And then some more good things started happening. But,
yeah.
Yeah, I think I'd be serving up a big old lie if we didn't at least address some kind of the elephant in the room.
Sure, yeah.
And since I am an elephant, I will remember.
I'll never forget this.
I will never forget this. I will remember. I guess I'll just ask point blankly, how did it feel to be away for a couple days?
I mean, it's always kind of a weird feeling. I mean, I love who I get to see when I go on my bi-weekly excursion. I won't get into that on the show, but...
It's pretty obvious if you put two and two together. But,
it is. But, of course, it's always hard being away from you. And, with the events of the past week, it's, it was hard because, I thought maybe you might need a little space from me because we are together all the time, for the most part anyways. But it's hard being away from you.
Well, I try giving you all the space that you possibly need.
Yeah.
Working, or if I need to get some sleep, you can catch up on the stuff that you want to.
Oh, totally.
And it turns out you never want me away.
I like you.
I really do not understand that.
I know, but I do.
But, yeah, it's been a week.
It's been a week.
Not gonna air the dirty laundry on here,
no.
Let's just say there was some unpleasantness.
There was.
That happened.
Yeah.
And, have you, without giving anything away, have you thought about that more?
Oh, yeah. There's definitely a lot of things that I know I need to work on in my life and in me. And I know some of the steps I need to take to at least start figuring those things out. And there's things I'm trying to kind of knock off on my daily list and stuff like that. But I know I'm a work in progress. I know it's not an overnight thing. And I know that makes it even harder for you. But... I'm doing what I can,
Granted, you left pretty much as we were talking more about what needs to be done, so I really haven't seen that, especially since you've been home for, I don't even think, a half hour yet.
No. No.
So all I can do is take you at your word.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
If I still can. But, we'll see.
Right.
We'll see.
Right.
But hopefully that doesn't affect the show going forward.
I hope not. I would like to have a good show.
Yeah, even if we break up, I think we can still do the show together.
Oh, okay. Ouch. Oh.
Well, you gotta separate the work life from the real life,
Sure. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think we work well together no matter what happens.
Well, I agree.
Yeah. And some other stuff I'll leave out. But, yeah, just needed to address that because otherwise it was just going to be on the back of my mind the whole time, and I don't think I would have been able to put on a fun show for you if I didn't at least point out some real life things that are going out.
Okay.
But, I know you didn't put that on the list of stuff to talk over this week, so...
No, I didn't.
But, I just wanted you to know I'm not going to forget.
I am well aware. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, and speaking of things that you may or may not have forgotten, what's gone on in the past week besides that?
Well, prior to that, we took a trip down to Rochester to visit one of the franchises of our favorite comic book stores and toy stores, I should say.
Now, I need to point out we don't live in New York, so it's not
No.
Rochester, New York. York, I
this
know
is-
that's what a lot of people are going to think.
Yeah, Rochester, Minnesota.
Yeah, because there's basically only 2 Rochesters that I'm aware of.
Yeah, that's the only ones
That's
I'm
New
aware
York
of.
and Minnesota.
Uh-huh.
And Minnesota is basically the near Iowa version of the Twin Cities, as I've learned. Like, kind of like the layouts are kind of the same.
Kinda.
They
yeah.
have a lot of the same chains and everything.
Yeah.
It's pretty nice, but it's really quite barren
Yeah.
to get there.
Yeah, it's a lot of country between here and there.
And speaking of country, on the way back, we had to pass by my sister's house.
Oh, I see what you did there.
That was unpleasant.
I know.
That brought back a lot of
Yeah.
memories and stuff. But you wanted to go back on 35s, and you didn't want to basically go through Dueling Banjos country again.
Yeah. Well, it was getting later. It was going to be dark by the time we really got going. And I have a fear of hitting deers. Deer at nighttime on the road. So I preferred being on 35 over.
Funny you didn't bring that up when we were talking about that in the car.
Oh, I thought you kind of already knew about that, though.
I guess, but I didn't know if that was the reason.
Well, not the only. One of the reasons.
Okay.
I wanted to be a little bit more populated, too, you know?
Yeah, but when you think about it, once you get past a particular town, it's pretty much dead there until we get back to our neck of the woods, too.
Kind of. But a little bit better than the other road, though.
Sure. Yeah, that was a local chain that we went to, 3 locations, one north of the cities, one that's a few miles away from us in reality, and one all the way down in Rochester, about like an hour away.
Yeah.
What did you think of that location?
I really liked it. It's pretty decent size. They had quite a bit of selection. They're pretty neat with stuff too. Like I like how much they have going on there, and yeah, it's one of my favorites of the 3 locations they have for sure.
Yeah, they had a lot of stuff I didn't even know existed, let alone stuff that I wanted and everything. And there was a lot of stuff I wanted you to get. It seemed like that wasn't on your agenda.
There was things I liked, but like it wasn't exactly what I wanted. Like there was a couple different the little guy from Sam, thank you.
Why am I remembering the horror stuff that you love so much?
I forgot his name, I know. But I would really like a full-size Sam, not like full on like the size of him, but like a bigger substantial Sam that I could have sitting somewhere. And
I thought they were both pretty good for what they were. I mean, one was like an action
cute.
figure, one was a little bit bigger.
They were cute, but one of them I didn't feel was as like detailed as I'd like it to be. And the other one was just not as substantial, though.
Oh, fair.
Yeah.
We also tried looking at comics and stuff like that. That wasn't really appealing to you. Yeah. But there was 2 things that were appealing to you.
Oh, yeah.
And we did snag those.
We did. We got ourselves a king-size Homer in the full moo-moo. With all the accessories, he is glorious and heavy as can be. And then we also
a bit on the pricey side, but considering how heavy it is, I completely understand.
And compared to what he's going for other places.
True, I've seen him go for over $100 online.
Absolutely. And then we also snagged Devil Ned Flanders, who I have always loved that version of Ned. Like I like all of like Ned's like kind of Treehouse of Horror things. Like the werewolf is amazing, but the devil is just beautiful.
It's always the one you least suspect.
It is.
Yeah, we got both of those, and for that Super 7 lineup, which got discontinued last year, we have almost all of them.
Yeah, there's not too many we're missing.
We're only missing 6 of them.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I think there were 17 altogether, so, we got more than half.
That's pretty darn good, then.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we got Deep Space Homer left.
Yep.
We got Mo. No. Well, Burns is what I meant to say.
Yeah, yep.
Burns. Mm-hmm. We have... I'm saving the 2 for the last.
Okay.
Oh, man, I'm forgetting right now. Here, I'm gonna pull this up while you talk.
Radioactive Man.
Yeah, Radioactive Man, which is one I've always wanted.
Yeah.
Dreader Tatum as well.
Okay, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And then, if I can only get 2 more,
yes,
it'd be these 2.
Yes.
Kang and Kodos.
100%. I love them. And which one has Maggie with them?
It's Kang.
It's Kang.
Okay. He's
technically the dad. Yes.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
In Treehouse of Horror.
Yes.
And, Maggie comes as the Kang and Kodos version.
Maggie lost her baby legs.
Yes.
It's so cute.
She's got the evil face, too, with just the one tooth. And
she's so adorable.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And I've been going down a well since you've been gone, watching toy reviews on these toys.
Oh, nice.
The new ones that are out now, the much cheaper ones, but they are also cheaper in price as well.
Yeah.
Like some of these Super 7 ones, they go from like 50 to 75. The Jack Specific ones, they go from like 5 to 13.
Yeah.
So, it's a little bit easier on the wallet.
Totally. Yeah.
Like you could pick up like 4,
if not more,
of the 5-inch ones for like the price of a normal Super 7 one.
Exactly.
Those King Kodos ones, like from everything I've seen, they just look really, really cool.
They're so substantial too. Like the box is huge.
Yeah, like Kodos comes with like the book of how to cook for 40 humans. And
Yes. Oh, I love that book.
Kang also comes with the Earth capital sign and
Nice.
it's like they're hitchhiking to Earth capital because they think there's an Earth capital. And of course, Maggie.
Who's adorable. I love her. Then we also found one more thing at Nerdin' Out in Rochester.
Oh, you actually said the name this time.
Oh, yes, I did. Well, why not?
Okay,
Give them a little promotion here.
Oh, you found out that after all of the money that we spent over the years, they finally have a membership deal where we can get some points off?
Girl,
Is that what you mean?
Right? We've been going to the one location forever, and then we went to their other location a few weeks back.
Yeah.
Where we finally learned that there was this point
Rewards
system.
program.
Yeah. And we got signed up for it. But like, girl, the amount we have spent at that original location.
Yeah.
We would have earned something by this point.
You would have thought so.
Yeah. But we did find one other thing though.
And that was?
That was Snake. Of one of the smaller varieties of the Simpsons lines. Which one was it? Do you remember?
No, actually we got Krusty.
I thought that
we
one
got the jail Krusty.
Is that the one we got there? Okay.
No, because we got Snake at the same time we got Wendell.
Oh, okay.
Which was a different trip.
My apologies. I thought Snake was at that last one.
Nope.
Okay.
Nope. That was Krusty without the face paint and everything on when he goes to jail, when Sideshow Bob frames him for
great.
robbery.
That's right. So great.
Although, as you see several seasons later, Krusty is doing some civic duties to get out of jail, so he visits Homer in the hospital. He talks about being in the Zipper Club with him because they both had bypass surgery. And
Gotcha.
Oh, it seems like you turned out okay. Oh, do I? Let me tell you, this ain't makeup. Of course, Krusty is pale-faced and everything compared to the rest of his body. So.
Yes. So good. Outside of that, anything else for their Rochester trip or?
I think it was really funny because I did not eat that day.
Yeah.
And I begged of you if we could get something to eat before we went because we recorded the show last week. Then we had some unpleasantness. Then you said, why don't we go to Rochester and visit the last store since we talked about how we haven't been there yet. And I said, well, there was a lot of reasons I didn't want to go, and some of it had to do with the night stuff.
Right.
But I also said, I beg of you, I need something to eat before we get there.
Yeah.
And little did we know, the way that we went had only one McDonald's location.
Yep.
And it was freaking closed.
Yep.
I don't know if it was like a brand new location that hadn't opened yet or closed down or what was going on, but it was just completely and utterly closed. You never see a closed McDonald's.
No.
Not during normal waking hours. You don't see that.
Exactly. It was so disappointing. Eventually we did find one, but it was pretty close to Rochester at that point.
Well, I think it was technically in Rochester.
Was it? Okay, yeah.
It just took a little bit of time to get to where we needed to go.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it also did bring up some, fighting off some bad stuff that was going on. There were some good memories that came from being in that area. I've mentioned it before, 12 years ago, I actually jammed with the Ephard family for a special 80th birthday party that was going on. They rented out a whole bar and everything for a surprise party, and I got to play with them. Of course, I know Joey Ephard, who's of the band 3, who 3 hasn't done anything since that time, unfortunately, but they used to tour a lot. I mean, that's where I first saw them, was with Dream Theater Opeth, Between the Buried and Me and 3, Progressive Nation 2008.
Nice.
But I found out his brother Josh was not going to be available to play on drums. If you're not familiar, Josh Ephard is the drummer of Coheed and Cambria. And of course, my name is Josh, so I filled in as Josh Ephard for that night. I also got to play with his uncle and his dad. His dad used to produce a lot of Social Distortion albums, and he did a lot of other cool stuff like that as well.
Yeah.
So it brought up a lot of cool memories with that as well.
Totally.
I was scared shitless the whole time, but I had so much fun playing.
Yeah.
Yeah, there was that. And then, of course, on the way home, had to drive by my sister's house, which I really did not want to do.
Yeah. Ugh. And, I didn't even realize it went, that's where it connected up to 35. Was that town? town because I just knew 35 was that direction, you know?
Right.
So, poor planning.
Yeah, well...
Yeah.
It kind of started... Well, the poor planning started before that happened.
Yeah.
And then the next day, the shit hit the fan.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But what happened after that?
Well, a few days...
Well, no, actually, there was some good stuff that happened before the shit hit the fan. We went to one town over and went to another comic book store.
Okay, but that was before. I lost the time.
Yeah, it was a little before the shit hit the fan.
Okay, so another comic book store that exists, but we've never actually gone to. We've driven past it, but have never actually been in it. They are moving locations, still staying in the same town, but moving locations. So they had a moving sale. So we decided to go check it out.
Although, as we learned, they have it, was it every weekend or is it just every day? Or I'm not sure what it is, but like bundles are 50% off. Loose comics are $1 unless otherwise noted. Some of the more premium ones start at $3, and of course the real pricey ones, those are staying the same.
Yes,
but we found some pretty substantial stuff there.
We did. On my end, I believe you actually pointed it out as I was like scrolling through, but you found a True Blood book for me.
Yeah, a hardcover True Blood book.
Yeah, which is very cool.
I think it was the whole series of that comic in one book.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, because there's multiple series of True Blood comics.
Okay, I haven't had a chance to look through it yet, but that makes sense.
You haven't looked through it? You bought it and you haven't
I briefly looked through it, but I didn't like pay attention to like what all is in it, you know?
Okay.
Well, it's still in the bag. I gotta put it away still.
You said you put everything away.
Oh no, I have everything together over here, but yeah.
You just took the clump of stuff from one location and moved it to a different location.
Yes, I did. We also found, a Planet of the Apes set that had 3 comics in it, number 1 through 3.
I would have wanted that, but it turns out you like Planet of the Apes more than I do. Despite never seeing the original movies.
Well, that is true. Like the original, I never seen those. And then Dark Shadows set of 1 through 4, which I love Dark Shadows, so.
Well, it's not 1 through 4 of the original series.
No.
We saw original Dark Shadows comics in Rochester, and you just put them back.
They were so expensive. I would have loved to have them, but they were very expensive. But yeah, this is 1 through 4 of a different set. So
yeah.
And then what did you find on your end?
I found a 2-issue series of Predator: Bloody Sands of Time. I found another 2-issue comic of Spawn and Batman, which I had no idea existed.
I know. How cool was that?
I found this whole Wolf Among Us comic book series. It's missing 1 issue, but it has the rest of them.
Yeah.
And I did find a Lucy Bane comic.
Yeah.
As well, one of the $1 comics.
Very nice.
And then there was a whole Bane Conquest series, which I had no idea existed.
Yeah.
And all of those, except for the Lucy comic, was 50% off, and the Lucy one was $1. So
not bad. We found some good deals there.
That we did.
And then after the weekend, after everything that happened and stuff, we went to a movie earlier this week. You had brought up that there's a newer Screen X movie theater at one of the theaters in our area. And
close to where you grew up.
Yeah, close to where I grew up. And so we were talking about maybe like utilizing that one for maybe Fantastic Four or Superman coming up or something.
Well, as we were driving around before the shit hit the fan, we went to the location.
Yes.
Yeah, that was on Saturday when we did that.
Yeah.
And we scoped it out, and I think it's a Marcus Theaters location, and it looked really nice and everything.
Yeah, definitely.
It seemed to be like separated from everything else, but as I've learned about the Southern Metro of the Twin Cities, it's all becoming just one gigantic city.
That is true. That is definitely true.
But we ended up not going to that one.
Yeah.
On Tuesday, right before I had an interview, you really wanted to see a Screen X movie.
I just got in the mood. I'm like, it'd be fun to check this out, you know? We haven't experienced it yet. Let's do it.
Yeah, so we gave it a chance and we went to Mall of America.
We did.
Despite living just barely minutes away from it.
Yes.
We just don't go there anymore because we thought it's just like, it's just going to be packed all the time. It's Mall of America.
Exactly.
First of all, we're so sorely wrong when it comes to that.
Yes. Well, pending on time, but yes,
right.
the time
but
we went.
It was later Tuesday afternoon.
Yeah.
But, we were able to have our own personal space and everything. People left people alone. Like, it wasn't just, like, jam-packed as it used to be at one point in time. Yeah, there wasn't that many people.
Yeah.
And the movie that we saw on Screen X did not have a lot of people there. Although I will say, it makes me miss Alamo even more.
Oh, God, yeah.
Because all of them were either, well, I can't blame them for it, coughing and sneezing, sometimes that happens.
Yeah.
But the people who were talking to each other or on their phone and then won't silence their goddamn phone, and I kept hearing that Apple chirp happening every time that they got a text.
Yes.
You did shush one of them once.
I did. It felt good.
I'm sure it did. Didn't work, but I'm sure it felt nice.
I know. Ugh.
But we saw a movie we've never seen any other movie in the franchise of.
Yeah.
And by God, despite there being 8 movies, they pretty much recapped everything that happened in the first couple minutes of said movie, so you don't need to watch the other 7 if you've never seen them before.
You really don't.
And there's other moments of flashbacks throughout the entire movie as well.
Yup.
So you basically get the gist of everything that's happened.
Yeah.
Without ever having to watch any of them. So we
Exactly.
just saved ourselves a whole bunch of fucking time by watching the last movie in a series. Of a series that I don't think either of us ever had any interest in.
Yeah. If I did ever see one, it was the original, and it was like way back when. I do not remember.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. I'm sure I saw the original one back on TNT back in the day.
Exactly.
Or at least I remember the commercials for it when I was watching Nitro. And
Yeah. Or you caught like part of it waiting for another show.
Maybe.
Maybe.
But it was, might as well just say what it is.
It is.
Mission Impossible: The Final Reckoning.
Exactly. And they say Final Reckoning in the movie.
A few times.
Yeah.
Not just once.
They said it.
Yes, I nudged you every time that they did that.
It was pretty funny.
See that?
Yeah. I'm like, yeah, I see.
So, first of all, what did you think of Screen X?
Yeah.
I guess I should point out what that is. If you're not familiar with what Screen X is, it's actually 3 screens. It's the main movie theater screen, and then there's 2 screens on the side of you. And I don't know if every movie is like this, but for what we saw with Mission Impossible, it was just in particular spots where they utilized the side screens.
Yes, it wasn't the full movie.
Yeah, it wasn't the main focal point, but it did hit in a lot of good spots, and especially a lot of the third act stuff, it really did heighten a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
But it wasn't there all the time, and I think that kind of worked to an advantage. But what about you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, number one, I had a little bit of concern because I do get kind of motion sickness from some things, especially even you gaming on our 65-inch can give me a little motion sick sometimes.
I don't believe you anymore.
I know you don't. So I was concerned how this was gonna, impact me. And aside from at the very beginning, some of the movement on the side screens that kind of gave me a little dizziness, the rest was pretty good. I think it helped for me that it wasn't the entire movie that was like that. So there was times where it's there's a lot going on, but then I had a moment to come back down from it too, but I thought it was cool. I thought it was really cool. It was a little disappointing that we were talking about this, the side screens at this theater, they're just painted on the walls. They're not actual screens.
Well, they did paint them the movie screen color.
Yes.
So it did match up.
Yeah. But in the bottoms, you'll see the exit sign and stuff like that. And that's just a little distracting for my mind anyway.
I was able to get over it pretty quickly.
Yeah. But it was definitely a very cool experience kind of having it more fully around you. I mean, it's not the full on IMAX, is it? Where it's all around you.
Well, I don't think they have a 360 version.
Oh no, I know. I'm thinking of at the zoo and stuff
Well, I thought that was just IMAX, but I think that's also a way bigger screen and stuff like that.
But in my mind, I was thinking back when I was a kid. I don't know if it was at the zoo or if it was where it was, but there was a kind of all around you thing where you got kind of strapped in almost, and it felt like you were moving on a plane and stuff like that, So that's where my mind went before I went into this.
Well, they also have 4DX now too, which is the Screen X stuff, but also the chair moves. You get water hit on you when there's rain. There's a whole bunch of other stuff like that.
That would be cool.
But the closest is Chicago, as far as I know. So
so not right now.
I know Minnesota's not a prime objective for getting a 4DX theater around here.
Yeah, unless they did one at the Mall of America, but who knows? But I really enjoyed it. I thought it was cool, and I thought it added something to some of the crazy scenes and stuff. You?
Yeah, I really liked it. I really want a triple monitor setup now because of all that.
That would be cool.
Also the Dolby Atmos, which we never take advantage of because every theater that we go to you have to sit on the side wherever we are. So we never get to sit like center of a movie theater and really get to experience the Dolby Atmos. But we did this time because there was enough space in between where the seats were.
Yeah, which in hindsight, like, if we're going to a theater that really has nobody there, we could absolutely do that.
You're goddamn right we could.
And we probably should, because it was cool.
Yeah.
So going forward.
Yeah, the Dolby Atmos stuff was just like really, really cool. And it was the first time I really got to experience that. And I'm just happy enough with the soundbar setup that we have in our living room area.
Yeah.
But now I want Dolby Atmos, goddammit. So
I know.
I joked about how that's how you can make it up to me for all the years of pain that you've caused is getting a Dolby Atmos setup.
Oh, maybe someday.
I also said something else either, and it's like, yeah, we're going with the soundbar.
Oh, maybe someday. Maybe someday.
Oh, yeah, I know. I can't let it go. What's next?
Well, I guess, first of all, what did you think about the movie overall, though?
Right. Yeah. The movie that we've never seen.
Exactly.
Any movie of the franchise of. It was just big, dumb fun.
Exactly.
The story could not fucking happen.
Oh, no.
But they make it seem like it could happen.
It's so unrealistic.
I like that they actually they filmed on location for a lot of places. They went to like South Africa. They went to Svalbard in Norway. They went to so much of the movie takes place in London as well, which is quite weird. But it's just like every single action movie trope of the 90s onwards is in this. Also, I didn't talk about it with you, but I had the same problem with this movie that I did with the God damn it, what's his name? The guy who directed Chicago. He directed Elvis.
Oh.
It was the same problem where it just changed shots like every 2 to 3 seconds.
Yeah. They were pretty quick with the shot change.
Yeah, just like it's like Kevin Dunn got fired. He started working on Mission Impossible or something.
Yes.
It's just like it constantly just kept fucking changing all the time. And to me, that's disorientating.
I understand.
When it does that all the time. Like, sometimes you just want to look at a location, and they won't let you do that.
Yeah. I hate more so the Kevin Dunn thing where they, like, zoom in and out all the time. That's what gets me. Oh.
Yeah, I think both can be true.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
But, yeah, just a big, dumb, fun movie. And, of course, just like any end to a franchise, is it really the end of the franchise?
Right. It'll be redone in a few years.
Yeah, well, it could be redone, but I think they very well could just keep doing this. Like, there could be a 9th movie in the current setting that they have as well, too, because, nothing's definitive.
That is true.
Nothing can ever be definitive anymore because in all of entertainment, a retirement means shit.
Yeah, absolutely.
The only retirement that you ever have is death.
That is true.
Because there's always just one more round, one more movie, one more match, one more something that there has to be.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
What did you think?
Yeah, I completely agree. It was just big dumb fun. And I think that's great for the Screen X experience. Like, you want bombastic, like, just craziness. And that's what it was. And, I mean, it's not, like, the most in-depth... Well, it gets in-depth, the story, but, like, not...
To me,
in, like, a meaningful way.
It's smart, but it's Big Bang Theory smart. If you know what I mean. Where
like, you have to be in on it.
It's like the characters are supposedly smart, but when you think about what's going on, it's really fucking dumb.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, there was this meme that circulated years ago of like the four different types of shows where smart people, smart show, dumb people, dumb show, smart people, smart show, dumb people, like all the combinations of that. It had like Futurama, Nova, Arrested Development, The Big Bang Theory, and then Big Bang Theory was like a dumb show about smart people.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Futurama was a dumb show about smart people.
Oh, ouch. But it was fun. Outside of that, we watched some other stuff too. TV wise, we watched The Great North season 5 episode 13. In this episode, Judy,
Judy. Also need to point out that they moved everything to Thursday.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
So we watched this before you left.
Yeah, that was strange. I mean, weren't they saying it was gonna jump to Thursday like a month or 2 months back?
Wednesday, months ago.
But then, like, it seemed like it was back to Sunday again.
Yeah. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
And now it's Thursday, and I don't know what's going on.
I don't either.
You know why people don't watch Fox? Because you never keep things on the same fucking day and time.
Yep. And then things are always like delayed for sports and stuff, and it's
Which, if they
never
do it on
consistent.
Thursday, that's actually smart because they won't delay the show anymore.
That's true.
The problem is, like for The Simpsons, you've had it in the same spot with a few exceptions for a season or two. Same time, Sundays at 7 Central. And then just after all this time for what could be season 37, okay, we're just gonna fuck with it now and just put it to a
Right.
different time.
Right.
And expect people to follow.
Yeah.
Now, I guess the argument is that people aren't watching local TV or cable
Well, that's
or
just
anything the way
it.
that they used to, and they can just put it up anytime. So why don't you just fucking put it up on Disney Plus or Hulu Sundays at 7 then, if that's your argument?
Yeah. Yeah. That would be nice.
I digress. But anyways, continue on.
But yeah, in this episode of The Great North, Judy joins a cast of a dinner theater production, and some shenanigans goes on with that. And then Wolf and Honeybee help Moon with selling jerky door to door.
Judy has turned into a little bitch.
She is a cunt. She really is.
Yeah, like, her dad gets a laugh because it's, like, interactive, like, dinner theater.
Yeah.
So he does one line that gets the whole crowd laughing, and they decided to keep including him.
Yep.
And she gets jealous of it.
And mind you, he was terrified to go to this because he had a bad experience in his younger years, and
At a stand-up show.
they basically made him go to this. And then he got called on. It actually allowed him to get over it and find some joy in it. And she still has the audacity to do this to him.
And then he apologizes at the end.
Yeah, he has nothing to apologize for.
And I also appreciate the segue that you did, because we went from Mission Impossible to the Great North, and beef is in both.
It's true. It's true. Oh, he's great.
Arguably the hero of both.
Yeah, yeah.
But no, I thought it was a really good episode.
Yeah.
Also, I found it really cute how Moon was like continuously like lying to be able to sell jerky and stuff, lying about like cancer and just, like, all
Moon
these
is
different
so
things.
cute. I just love Moon. Oh,
Hollyhock on BoJack as well.
exactly.
See, this is all a theme to what's coming up next on the show.
It
But
is.
yeah.
It is. We also watched Bob's Burgers, season 15, episode 12. In this one, the Belchers decide to go on a new family walk, and they run into
Never a good idea.
Never a good idea. And they run into Coach Blevins, who is selling sweat-scented candles. And
I wonder where that's coming from.
yeah, and they run into one of their little friends who has a little theory on where he's gathering the sweat for the candles. And some shenanigans happens.
Yeah, it was a good little mystery plot that was going on. Really dived well into the, well, not current, but, you know, just the obsession of conspiracy theories.
Totally, yeah.
You know, it could just come from a joke, and people will take it as gospel.
Yeah.
Just because it sounds plausible to them.
Exactly.
Just because you're creative with ideas does not mean that's what's happening.
Yeah, and it also shows, like, how people, even kids, can just, like, stick to it so intensely.
Well, that's the easiest time to do it, is
Yeah.
to manipulate people, is when you're learning.
That is true. That is true.
Also, if your mind's degrading, that's how we basically got Trump as president again, because a lot of degraded minds voted for him.
Yeah,
But,
yeah, basically. I also love how it kind of shows Louise kind of having a friend, but she never wants to admit to it actually having friends, you know, because she's such a tough cookie on her own, you know?
Well, she admits to Rudy being a friend.
That is true. Rudy is the exception.
Oh, sorry, regular-sized Rudy.
Regular sized Rudy, but not pocket sized Rudy. But outside of Rudy, like, she's so, like, hesitant, so strong-willed that she never wants to really admit to having friends.
Although when you see her friend, you understand why.
Well, that is true. That is true.
Then, of course, Linda's fucking unbearable
Oh,
on here as
God.
well, too. Just
Yeah.
She makes everyone go on a family walk, so basically so she could break in her new shoes.
Yes.
That's the only reason. It's not
Yep.
because she actually wants to have a family walk. She wants to
No.
break in her new shoes.
Yeah.
Her new shoes don't fit, and she starts getting a blood blister on both of her feet.
Yep. And she keeps going instead of turning back and, you know, stopping the pain and the agony for her family as well.
And Bob has to push her around in a cart, and
Her yarn around his back for a little bit.
oh, that was just so realistic.
I know.
How little of steps he was taking.
Poor Bob.
Bob goes through such hell.
He does. He really does. That poor man.
I've pointed out this theory before, but I still think it holds true. Or at least what I think is going to happen for the series finale.
Yeah.
The very last shot of the very last episode, if they get a proper series finale.
Yes.
Which, they're going to be entering their 16th season. They fucking better get a real series finale.
I hope so.
Bob's just going to look at his family as they're watching TV in the living room.
Yeah.
He just stands there looking at them.
Yeah.
He turns around and goes into his bedroom. And then you just hear a single gunshot.
Oh, God. And then there's a note. You're all terrible people.
Oh, he doesn't even have to say it. He said that in the very first episode.
That is true.
You're all awful at what you do.
I'd fire you all if I could.
Yeah. And, the kids aren't even supposed to be working there legally.
That is true. That is true.
They don't get paid or anything.
Yeah.
It's just, it's what you're supposed to do.
Granted, all they do is clean the menus and stuff. It's not crazy stuff. It's just helping out a little
Occasionally
bit.
they do more.
Yeah.
Sometimes they take orders, sometimes they do dishes, sometimes they have to cook, and it always goes disastrously wrong.
The kid from the restaurant. Yes. But it was a good episode.
Yeah.
We also watched the season 2 finale of the
No.
Well,
I think since we're doing all the animation stuff right now, I think we should get into...
Sure, we'll get into this.
Well... Someone leaked a video that happened back on Friday, and I was really hoping it would have been there when you got home.
I know.
It was gone.
I know.
But we saw the official opening credits to basically the revival, or season 14, depending on how you look at it, of King of the Hill.
Yes, it will be returning on August 4th.
Apparently there was a real trailer that aired that had clips of several episodes and stuff like that.
Yeah.
It was a minute long. And of course it got taken down by Disney.
It'll be out there somewhere at some point. We just gotta keep our eyes out.
Oh, I'm sure if you really search for it, it's out there somewhere.
Yeah.
And who knows, maybe before we do the next segment, I might just go to the Naked Lady machine and see if I can find it myself.
Naked Lady machine.
Yeah, it's bringing back some 93X references.
That's great. But there was a lot that happened in this intro. I'll go through a few things, and if you think of anything else, definitely throw them out there too.
Okay.
There
is. Do you have the synopsis?
I don't have the. Well, actually, do I? Hold on. I don't have the full synopsis. No.
Well, it's like a one paragraph thing.
Okay.
So I don't know what you have.
Yeah, I don't have a full paragraph of anything. I just have what happens in the intro.
Okay. Well, I'm pulling it up right now. So
Okay.
Why don't you go ahead? Well, I should probably talk about the synopsis first once I get that pulled up.
Yeah, you give us a synopsis first.
All right. After years of working a propane job in Saudi Arabia to earn their retirement nest egg, Hank and Peggy Hill return to a changed Arlen, Texas, to reconnect with old friends Dale, Boomhauer, and Bill. Meanwhile, Bobby is living his dream as a chef in Dallas and enjoying his 20s with former classmates Connie, Joseph, and Chain.
Yes.
Did you have that?
I had pieces of it.
Okay.
Not the full thing. So yeah, first of all, we see Hank, Peggy, and a teenage Bobby packing up to move away. So with that, the parents moving over to Saudi Arabia, apparently, and Bobby going off to college.
Well, you also see the guys looking very sad and depressed.
Yes.
Bill is crying.
Yep, that was coming.
Okay.
But yeah, Bill was in tears, and yeah, they're moving out. And then in their place, a new character apparently moves into the Hill household while they are gone.
And if rumors are to be believed, that is a character known as Muhammad.
Yes.
Which, if using context clues, I think they switched houses.
Yeah.
Like, Hank and Peggy moved into Muhammad's house in Saudi Arabia, and Muhammad moved into Hank's house.
That would make sense.
It makes sense to me, anyways.
Yeah, totally. I can see that. You also see Bobby kissing Connie goodbye, so there's something going on there. And yeah,
having a brain fart there.
Yeah, having a little bit of a brain fart. But yeah, so curious, are they full on back together, or what's going on there?
Well, if you look at the leaked stuff, they're in bed together in one episode, so yeah, they are.
Apparently they are at some point.
And I'm actually really pissed about that.
I know. I don't think they're a good couple.
They're not.
Yeah.
But Bobby has to do what Hank did and marry the first girl that ever paid him attention.
That is true. And then Joseph looks all upset too. He doesn't seem to be happy that they're together.
I still hope the voice of John Redcorn is doing the voice of Joseph.
Oh, God, I hope so. It'd be so good.
Hey, Mom. Hey, Dad.
It doesn't have to be right away when he is going off to college, but after they're back and stuff.
Yeah, well, yeah. Like present day.
Yeah, present day. Yep, absolutely. Some other things that happen throughout. At one point, you see a Gribble for Mayor sign is on the lawn. So now does this mean that Dale's running for public office, or could it be Nancy? Who knows?
Well, also, I think you missed that. You did completely miss that, unless you have it in a different spot. Nancy gets back into John Redcorn's Jeep.
Yep, I have that coming up.
That was before the...
Was that before?
Go
Okay.
for mayor.
My stuff might not be in the right order of everything that happened in there, but...
See, I was trying to go in order, so it's very confusing following your plot line.
My apologies. I pulled up articles and kind of went off of them.
So I think Dale finds out.
Very well could be.
As John Redcorn pointed out at one point, when Joseph has to go for college, let's see what race you check.
Exactly. Oh, God, I love that. I love that line so much.
Now, I understand that the common consensus for John Redcorn is he's one of the worst people in King of the Hill.
I disagree.
I disagree as well.
Like, he's not cheating on anybody. Nancy was.
Yeah.
Like, he's just, I mean, is it right, his position? No, but
No.
He's not doing the bad thing himself. I mean...
It's Nancy, yeah.
Yeah. And she's the one who cheated on Dale all those years, kept the father of his children from Joseph.
Ever knowing.
Yeah, like, she's done so much stuff. Yeah.
And I think that might have broken Joseph as well.
Yeah.
And at least from what I get from looking at the opening credits, I think Joseph chooses Dale because he was there the whole time.
That could be. Yeah.
Which I also don't think is fair to John Redcorn because he wanted to be in his life and Nancy said no.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
It's true.
But also when you think about it, when you look at Joseph and you look at Dale and you try to figure out how they could possibly be related in any way, shape, or form.
Don't forget, Joseph came from an alien.
Or Nancy said that she had a Jamaican grandmother.
I know, right? Like, what? Throughout the intro, you also see that COVID happens in the King of the Hill universe. They're all wearing masks, even David.
COVID.
Even Dale, even though it's around his chin, which is to be expected for him.
Well, he's also smoking as well, and
that is
using
true.
his vape and stuff like that. You really can't do that through a mask.
Yeah, but you know he's the type to, like, not have it over his nose and stuff.
Oh, of course.
Bill
I wonder
also...
if my dad did that before he died of COVID. Or did he
Probably.
just ignore the mask altogether?
Depends, probably both. You also see Bill apparently getting sick, and so maybe he catches COVID, but then he kind of disappears after that, so...
Maybe he just becomes us and never leaving the apartments after COVID happens.
Well, that's what I've heard, like, a lot of people discussing is, like, he kind of, fears leaving after that point,
Yeah.
A couple other things. You never see Ladybird, so, I mean...
Right,
you can
but
only...
they do have a new pup.
Yeah, there's a new pup.
Bobby has a pup named Caesar.
Yes.
Which is like a little Irish Terrier type thing.
Yes.
Or Scottish Terrier.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. But just a little thing. You also see Boomhauer with a new woman and a child. So is this, his child from a past? Is this her child? Are they married? What's going on there? Who knows? It also snows in Texas now. And on that note, Connie also...
Well, remember a few years ago, there was like a gigantic snowstorm that happened in Texas.
Yep, so it makes sense. And Connie also has a school project-y type thing going on where she illustrates climate change, so maybe that has to do something with that too.
That could be as well.
Yeah. Anything else from the preview?
From the preview, no, but there has been some stuff that has come out.
Yup. It has been announced who will be taking over Dale Gribble's voice. It will be Toby Huss, who also does the voice of Khan and Cotton as well.
From the show.
From the show. Mm-hmm.
Of course, I'll always remember him on Curb Your Enthusiasm as a limo driver.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I forgot one thing. And Dee Dee is in the preview as well, along with GH, who is adorable.
Thank you for cutting me off again while
sorry.
I'm talking.
I'm sorry. It hit me. I didn't want to forget it.
I know. It's just we talk about this.
I know.
With Toby Huss, I always remember him as a limo driver for Larry going to Ted Danson's house for a birthday. Larry feels bad that he's stuck in a limo.
Yes.
So he wants to invite him in, and then begrudgingly Ted Danson lets him in, and he starts drinking all the time, and just gets drunk, and I'll just always remember the line, "Oh, hey, Becker."
It's so good.
He has done a hell of a lot of voices and different stuff as well.
Yeah.
And if you had to replace Dale with a different voice actor, which, funny enough, episode 2 of this very show is when Dale died in real life.
Yeah.
Johnny Hardwick. It's amazing how we're talking about in episode 95 now.
Yeah.
Just that much time has gone by.
Exactly.
I'm glad that they're picking someone that actually was a part of the show at some point. Mm-hmm. And also, he wouldn't probably been able to be a part of the show anymore because Cotton died. I still want to believe he faked his death
I know, right?
just to fuck with Peggy.
Yep.
And B, he can't do the voice of Khan anymore.
No.
You know,
yeah.
appropriation is a thing, and
Right, yeah.
even though he had such a legendary voice, you know, it's just a lot of things have changed since the end of King of the Hill.
Yeah.
So, you know, like, you gotta adapt to current times.
It's true.
Apparently, a news anchor on The Daily Show will be taking over for Khan. I forgot his name.
Oh, okay.
But, yeah, I'm very curious to see where all of that goes.
Me too.
And also the fact that we actually do get to see GH.
I know. Yeah.
We don't get to see Gracie, though.
No, I'm curious what picture they're gonna paint with that family.
I'd like to think that, maybe the whole the whole family moved to an oil rig.
I'd like to think that too. Yeah.
Is that the federal oil rig or the state oil rig? Smart man.
Oh, but yeah, August 4th again. I'm excited.
Yeah. That's gonna be weekly, remember?
Yes.
Netflix is the only thing that does everything in a batch.
Yeah.
Sometimes Amazon does it, but usually it's just Netflix that does it. It's gonna be a hell of a time watching new episodes of King of the Hill.
I know. Ugh.
Yeah, that's fucking wild to me.
It is. It really is. Yeah, that'll be a new experience since I didn't get into it till well after.
Now it's the only thing you watch.
Yeah, pretty much.
If it was up to you, we would only fall asleep to King of the Hill.
I do love King of the Hill.
Yeah.
You turned me on to it.
Yeah, I created a monster with that.
Yeah.
So let's get into the live action stuff now.
Yeah, so we checked out the season 2 finale of The Last of Us.
Yeah, well, nothing was technically wrong with it.
Yeah.
It still kind of left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
Like, all of the main plots that happen, the main pivotal points, happen, whether you want them to or not.
Right.
But they do a cliffhanger, then they do a tease for season 3, which I have such a problem with because I talked about this last week or the week before. I can't even fucking remember now. Time is just a fleeting thing. Where they put Joel's last appearance, which is at the end of the game, in the penultimate episode of season 2.
Yes.
Their reasoning for it, according to their podcast, was they didn't think people would remember and or care by the time of the end of the TV series.
Bullshit.
So why in the fuck did you tease season 3 the way that you did, using that same logic?
Yeah. Nope.
I also saw the creator of the TV show of The Last of Us says this is the final video game adaptation he's gonna do. I fucking wonder why.
Yeah.
This show has caught so much shit since Joel died.
Yeah.
And so much of that comes from people who never played the game, and so much of that comes from everyone shitting on an autistic girl who's barely an adult.
Right. It's fucked up.
It's very, very fucked up.
If you're one of those people, you're fucked up. Grow the fuck up.
I especially considering the potato thing. And that's a common slur for autistic people. Is they move like a potato.
Right.
That's pretty fucked up. And
Very.
all the problems that people have with season 2 are not the problems that we have.
No. Absolutely not.
Our problems have to do with the story choices that they've made.
Yeah.
Well, again, they pretty much hit beat for beat everything that happens in the game. But the way that they got there, so much of that did not need to be there.
100%.
The only positive that I think that they did was including Bam Bam.
Yeah.
And her husband, Eugene.
Yes.
Which, again, it's amazing that it's Ralphie from The Sopranos.
I know, right? That was interesting.
I know he's done other things, but goddamn it, he's Ralphie in The Sopranos to me.
He is.
But didn't realize it when you first look at him.
No, not
I heard
at
the
all.
voice, and it's like I kind of hear some inflections, like no, no, and then I had to, oh shit, it is.
Yeah, I didn't know till you told me.
But then once I told you, it's like, oh shit, what happened?
Right?
Not that he was ever a looker in the first place. But come
no,
on.
not at all. But still.
But if season 2 apparently had the drop off that it apparently did, just wait for season 3.
Ooh, yeah.
And they plan on making this 4 seasons, which I don't know how the fuck they could possibly do it.
Yeah, I
mean, the fact that they told all of Ellie's story basically in one season, which you could have spread that out to be longer, and arguably would have been better. But they told all of her story up to that pivotal cliffhanger point, which I thought was going to be the real ending of season 2. Then they had to do that bullshit tease of season 3.
Yeah.
So am I still right or am I wrong?
With
That being the ending of season 2.
Oh.
Yeah, did I nail it, or...
I think you...
Because it's technically not the last thing you see.
Right.
Oh, yeah, and it ends with Soundgarden, too.
Yeah, there is that, too.
There's so much fucking grunge to The Last of Us.
No.
A song that brought us both the fucking tears in part 2.
Yeah.
We thought was written for the fucking game.
Yes.
Turned out to be a fucking Pearl Jam song.
It's so disgusting. God damn it.
And I think you like things less now.
I'm trying to like separate it and not think about the fact that it's a Pearl Jam song because I've never heard
But Pearl Jam even released an EP called The Last of Us,
Right.
where they have tracks from the game and
Right.
the TV show in it now.
Right, but
It's kind of unavoidable is what I'm getting at.
No, I get that. But like the song that made us cry, like I've never heard the Pearl Jam version of it, and I'm gonna hopefully keep it that way for the rest of my life.
Maybe that's how I get back at you.
Son of a bitch.
So, yeah, look, I like the next part of The Last of Us.
Yeah.
What is going to be season 3, and also kind of like, I don't know, would it be act 3 of 4 for part 2? Is kind of how I'm looking at it.
Yeah.
Because like part 1 is up to where Joel dies, part 2 is Ellie's story, part 3 is the next part, and part 4 is the finale, which I really think should have been The Last of Us part 3.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think it would have been much more interesting for Ellie to go on an adventure all the way there, rather than what felt like a really, really rushed ending
Yeah.
to everything. But
Yeah.
that's my opinion of it all.
Yeah.
I really like it, but I think a lot of people are really, really going to drop off.
I would imagine so. Yeah. I mean, I think there's some people who will stick with it because they're intrigued, but with all the hate it's gotten, I can only imagine it's going to drop lower.
Yeah, and again, our problems with it are not the casting, not the race changes, not the
No.
LGBTQ plus stuff, which is in the fucking games.
Yep.
It's how they decided to get to some places.
Yeah.
So what about you? What did you think?
Yeah. I mean, I'm not going to say it's a bad episode because there's good things that happen and stuff, and it's well acted and everything like that, you know? I just don't like where they placed some things because they kind of move things around a little bit of where you see it in the show versus the game. They do one thing with Ellie that is originally with another character, so I'm curious how that's gonna play out.
Well, remember, they said in season 3 they didn't have time to do that part.
Yeah, but
So, if that's true, either A, they're going to repeat the exact same fucking scene, or B, they're going to change that scene entirely, which is a very pivotal part to the game.
it sure is. It sure is. So I'm curious how that whole thing's gonna go. I'm also curious, Bam Bam.
Bam, bam.
I mean, we have our theories with her, like if that's gonna be built up at all or not. But yeah, I agree. It was kind of like, I get, like, from one perspective why they, you know, put a little teaser for the next season at the end, but not by their logic. And I agree with you. It should have ended with the cliffhanger.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And what about Soundgarden at the end?
Ugh. I mean, I'll take it over Pearl Jam, but it's still not a win in my book.
Just all of the goddamn grunge.
I know.
And I get it, Seattle, but why the fuck isn't Queensryche there then? Why?
Right.
Why isn't Nevermore on there then?
Yes. Girl, come on. Up your interests.
Come on, if they would have done Believe in Nothing, like an acoustic version of that. Especially in the Last of Us universe,
my
you have
God.
something like Believe in Nothing. Holy shit, that would have... First of all, Nevermore could use the fucking money, and second, that would hit way fucking harder.
We need to create a premise of a game so we can pick the music.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And, of course, so many people don't pick stuff like that is because, well, people won't know what it is. Well, fuck you! The whole point is to turn people on to the music.
They'll fucking learn.
But, I'm kind of scared about season 3 now.
Yeah. Yeah.
Also, Manny is not attractive.
I need to get it.
As a straight white cis male, Manny's fucking hot in The Last of Us Part 2.
He is.
In season 2,
He is.
he's nobody.
Yeah. I need to get a better look, but he definitely...
Well, he has way shorter hair.
Yeah.
He's not as tall.
No.
Yeah.
Sad.
But anyways, I have seen so many people eviscerate season 2, and I'm not going to do that. I enjoyed it, even if there are parts that I wish didn't go the way that they did.
Same.
And there was many gotcha moments that happen in there as
yeah.
well that kind of left a more of like a fuck you than it is that a gotcha. But I don't regret watching it.
No.
But this also kind of makes me think like next year, I don't think we need to go through the whole rigmarole of watching all of it next year, you know, like our yearly thing that we do where we
Like
play
the
the
past
games
two
and watch the
seasons.
TV
Yeah.
and stuff. Like, I kind of feel like we don't need to do that next year now.
Right.
Just because things have been kind of soured. But I don't know. What about you?
Yeah. I mean, we'll see how we feel then, but I don't think we need to rewatch the 2 seasons for sure. Like, I will say my heart will always be with Jesse.
Yeah.
Never forget. Never fucking forget.
You didn't hate Jesse in the game,
No.
but you loved him so much more in the show.
Oh, I love him in the show. And I'm
Loved.
so loved. Yeah.
Indeed. So anyways, we did do some sleuthing online, and we did find that trailer that was released at that King of the Hill panel on Friday. You're gonna go first on this. What did you think?
Yeah, I am definitely, my curiosity is spiked even more. I mean, it's weird seeing the kids as like young adults now and like moving around like young adults. Like, I'm not used to that. So, and you know, seeing Bobby and Shane get along and
Chain.
There's
no G.
Chain. Okay. Yeah. It's super weird seeing, yeah, you know, Hank and Peggy come back and kind of the interactions with the alley gang again. It's just, it's really weird to see them again, you know?
So Peggy drops a fuck in there?
She does! What? What's that?
Although it is bleeped out. Are they just gonna do bleeps on the show now? Like,
maybe to add kind of humor to it or something. I don't know.
I feel like Peggy is just like gonna be like a full-on Karen now.
Oh, completely. Yeah.
If she wasn't already.
Yeah.
But like, especially with the haircut that she has now.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
it's just like full-on Karen mode. The only things she's missing is just like little fades in her hair.
Yes.
But yeah, seeing Bobby like working and living his dream job.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's not improv or prop comedy, but
That is true.
Maybe he'll still do that. Maybe not. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe he's changed though.
Maybe. But yeah. It was a short little trailer, but I'm very, very curious to see what is going to be happening in a little over 2 months from now. Okay, so now we've come to the focal point of the show, the special of the week, otherwise known as Spécial de la Semaine.
Good job.
Yeah, I said I would get it one day, and now I don't even think about it.
Good.
At least I got the metal fairy pronunciation of it right, which
Exactly.
could very well be wrong.
Exactly.
I'm sorry, have you ever watched that show Fargo?
God, I will never forget that.
Nor should you.
Yes, like yeah, I've seen it.
Hey, can I get a Diet Coke?
Fargo.
Anyways, the Spécial de la Semaine of this week is our top 10 voice actors, actresses, and wouldn't you know it, today is also the first day of Pride Month as well.
Yes, that's true.
It's also Mental Health Awareness Month as well.
Yeah.
So, you know, we're covering a lot of ground here, and at least for mine, I cover both of those in my list.
Oh, good.
So, as someone who's never paid attention at all to who does the voices of cartoons, games, other things, how in the possible fuck did you go about this?
So there's a website, I should have written down the name of it, but there's a website that
IMDb.
Well, that too. But there is a website that specifically focuses on voice actors, and it's you can just go down. You can pull it by show or by actor, and it shows like everything they've done in the voice actor spectrum. So I just started with some of my favorite shows throughout the years and kind of kept going down wells.
That does make a lot of sense, and I'm sure that's a good way to figure out how to do this in one day. So, but yeah, I had a gigantic well to do this since I've been paying attention to voices pretty much my entire life. I mean, of course, there isn't a person alive who doesn't know that The Simpsons is so near and goddamn dear to me. Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's like I grew up on other cartoons, grew up on gaming, grew up on all these different things, and I pay attention to that so much more than even live action stuff. So that's basically my way of saying I had a gigantic fucking list.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I had to narrow down to 10 entries, which I did not want to do.
Yeah, I did have more than 10 as well, but I narrowed it down to 10. I don't have them in any particular order, but...
Yeah, I think probably number 1 is number 1 for me.
Sure.
But 2 through 10 is in any particular order.
I understand.
Yeah, basically what came into my mind, I guess, is the best way I could think about it.
Yeah.
So we're dusting off the old spin the choice wheel, which we have not used in quite a bit of time to see who's going first.
Okay.
32 entries, 16 me, 16 the Metal Fairy. She always feels this is rigged.
I do not.
So I I'm just going to spin it. You can hear it spinning right now.
Yeah.
We'll see what it lands on. Hopefully it lands on the right choice.
Yep, it's me.
And it is you.
All right.
You can hear the applause and everything.
I know. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
That little shit-eating grin that I have on right now. And But yeah, you're going first for this, and I'm very curious to see where you go with this.
All right, and again, in no particular order, my first one is April Stewart. She played a number of roles on South Park, including Shelley Marsh, who is probably my favorite, Wendy Testaberger, Leanne Cartman, Sharon Marsh.
Should point out that there's been many different voices that have done the voices.
That is true, but she is one of the main ones who has.
Right. Like, well, I was going to point out the original voice who did all of those sadly committed suicide. Mm-hmm. And I believe she's second or third.
Okay.
The one that you have that started doing
that? Carol McCormick and many others. She also did many voices in Skyrim. So kind of bridging a lot of areas of my world.
That makes a lot of sense. The first one that I have, I'm still going to try. Well, the last one is number one for me, but the rest of these are in no particular order.
Okay.
I'm starting with Ashley Johnson.
Okay.
Of course, she is Ellie in The Last of Us.
Yes.
She was also in Growing Pains for the last few seasons.
Yes.
It still blows my mind.
I know.
She's done a lot of stuff. Also, tying it back to our last segment, she was also Emily in King of the Hill.
Yes.
You know, the hall monitor.
Yes.
Emily! I didn't realize that was her until I started, looking up various roles. But,
yes.
But basically, her role as Ellie in both games is fucking legendary. Mm-hmm. And just perfectly hits, that teenage angst.
Yeah.
You know, whether she's 14 or 19, just hits it perfectly. And of course, my favorite line, almost probably in the entire series, tell them that Ellie's the name of the little girl that broke your fucking finger!
It's so good. You say that all the time, and I love it. My next one is Mel Blanc.
Blank.
Is it Blanks? But,
yeah, okay. I know who you're talking about.
It's a C, so I thought it was Blanc, but
no,
yeah.
Blank.
Mm-hmm. He played many things throughout the years.
The first of many things.
Yes. Most importantly in my heart is he was Heathcliff. I loved Heathcliff when I was a kid.
All the fucking roles that he's done,
I know,
you choose fucking Heathcliff.
I lived for Heathcliff when I was a kid. I loved it. So he was Heathcliff. Outside of that, another top one for me is Porky Pig. I love Porky Pig, but he played a ton of different Looney Tunes characters.
Almost all of them.
Almost all of them. And
even the racist ones.
and a majority of the Flintstones characters as well. Mm-hmm. But Heathcliff and Porky Pig are my tops for him. But he's so impressive.
Yeah. He was one of the first voice actors out there. And because of what he could do with his voice, he basically did everything.
Totally.
That was sadly one of them I had to cut off. I didn't want to.
I understand.
Mine's a bit more contemporary when it comes to everything.
Mine's all over the place,
right.
Honestly.
And that was the only thing that I went with for this. I could have went in so many other directions.
Yeah.
But that said, my next one I have up is Mike Judge.
Nice.
Of course, Beavis and Butthead. He's also Hank Hill, which is also the same voice as Anderson on Beavis and Butthead.
Yup.
No difference whatsoever. In fact, a little bit of trivia, the original idea that Hank's dad was going to be Anderson.
Yeah.
But Fox said no.
Yeah.
So they created the character of Cotton.
Right.
But having Anderson be Hank's dad would have just been fucking fantastic.
I mean, they're the same person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, except Anderson uses butane.
That is true.
And Hank uses propane.
That would be his little, dig in his father. Huh.
And of course, he did so many different roles in Beavis and Butthead as well, too. You know, Principal McVicker and Mr. Van Driesen and so many different ones as well.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Basically, when it comes to, dirty comic cartoons and stuff like that, Beavis and Butthead was the first one for me.
Oh, yeah.
And that's always going to be legendary to me. But, despite King of the Hill really going off the fucking rails in a horrible roller coaster crash or train wreck in the last few seasons, King of the Hill is still near and dear to my heart. It's just whenever we get to those seasons, I just prefer to start over rather than keep watching them because it gets really hard to watch.
Yeah. My next one is Hank Azaria.
Or my favorites of his Halloween names, Yank My Area.
That's great. He did a number of amazing, a number of amazing characters in The Simpsons. Mo Sizlak, who I think is such a great voice. Chief
So relatable with his suicidal ideals.
Right.
At least for me.
Not today. Chief Clancy Wiggum, Apu at one point.
Nahasapima Petalon. Well, he's been the only voice of Apu so far.
Has he been so far? Okay.
Well, Apu hasn't come back.
That's right. Yeah.
They said they might address it one day, and then they also said they might not, so...
That's sad. I love Apu.
I do too.
Carl, comic book guy.
Carl Carlson,
yes.
Jeff Albertson, otherwise known as comic book guy.
Yes. Superintendent Chalmers, Professor Fink, Cletus. Fink, sorry.
You said Fink.
Did I say Fink? Okay. Frink. Cletus, Kirk, Snake, Duffman, a ton more. And just some really legendary voices in there.
Until you start to really pay attention to voices, it's fucking hard to believe that he does so many characters on the show.
They're so different.
Well, that's what I mean.
Yeah,
it's
he has
just like
such
the range.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right, next up for me, I have Nolan North. Possibly known best as Nathan Drake from the Uncharted series.
Oh,
one
yeah.
that I need to get you into.
Yes.
He's also my version of Deadpool.
Okay.
He's done it in many different things, but most importantly, at least to me, he was in the PS3, PS4 game of Deadpool.
Okay.
Which, Ryan Reynolds really shit the bed for me enjoying Deadpool because of recent things that we really don't need to be all my talk about.
Right.
When it comes to this. Let's just say that Ryan Reynolds is as bad as his wife.
Right.
So, yeah, Nolan North is my Deadpool, and that game is so fucking expensive now. I'm so glad that we have it.
I know, right?
Like, when I was working at my former retail job, that game was going for like $15-$20 at most.
Yeah.
Now it's in the hundreds.
That's ridiculous.
Same with Godzilla. We picked that up for $15 at Best Buy one day, and it's like over $400 now.
We should have bought multiple.
Had we known.
But
you will probably know him best as the dad from Hysteria.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. He occasionally does some live action roles, but he was the dad, and you see his wife going possessed and everything, and he's trying to hold the family together.
Nice.
The whole time I thought he was the one who was going to do a heel turn. Turns out I was wrong.
Right.
And of course there'll never be a season 2 of that, which is unfortunate because I would have loved to have seen the fallouts of everything that happened from season 1.
Oh, yeah.
And it ends on such a downer where that fucking cunt from True Blood wins.
I know.
And of course, it's always great seeing Bruce Campbell.
Yes.
But Nolan North is my next one I have.
My next one is Mike Judge. So as you already talked about, Beavis and Butthead, plus many other characters.
If we have any more of these, you should just do it right after.
I will going forward.
Okay.
Also Hank Hill and Boomhauer as well. Great actor.
Yeah, so many different roles. Next up for me is Ashley Burch, who recently, I think in 2022, came out as poly and queer.
Nice.
So I also remember, just deep fucking cut here.
Yeah.
The completionist talked about how much he had a fucking crush on her. Mm-hmm. And was like, anytime he would see her, he would just like try so fucking hard to like ask her out and then just never had the guts to do it.
Oh, God.
And it's just so funny learning about how she came out. It's like, you never had a fucking chance to. Also, you're a piece of shit. So it's like.
Yeah. Yep.
But anyways, she has done a lot of different roles. Tiny Tina in the Borderlands games.
Yeah.
Chloe in Life is Strange. Mm-hmm. Aloy from the Horizon series. Yeah. And so many other different roles and stuff like that. So I hope Tiny Tina is still going to be in Borderlands 4. She recently came out and said that she hasn't been asked to be a part of it. Mm-hmm. I hope that's a swerve.
Yeah.
And speaking of swerve, I see WWE has released some contracts today.
Oh.
Including Carlito, which I don't know why the hell he came back.
Yeah.
But R-Truth was let go.
Really?
Yeah. Fucking Ron Killings was let go.
Well, it's because Vince isn't there anymore. This is bestie.
Hit the nail on the goddamn head.
Yeah.
Well, he wasn't let go. His contract wasn't renewed.
Sure.
That's the...
Future endeavored.
Yeah, future endeavored. But Ashley Burch was my next one there.
Okay, my next one. No surprise, she's on my list. Kristen Schaal. She's done a lot of roles and she acts as well. A lot of them I don't know, but near and dear to my fucking heart.
I can think of two.
She is Louise Belcher, and she from Bob's Burgers, and she is Sarah Lynn from BoJack Horseman. And I love both roles. I just love her voice. She's so fucking hilarious.
She just has that little girl voice just
She
down
does.
perfect.
She's wonderful. I can't say enough good things about her voice.
Yeah, you basically took everything I was going to say about her later and what I have
you
on
have
here
her
too.
too? Okay.
Oh, of course.
Okay.
Like it's just
want
like
to make sure.
yeah, I mean, I've known her from a lot of different stuff as well, but yeah, the two that just continue to be near and dear is Louise and Sarah Lynn.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, so you
So
might as
that's
well
your
go
next
again.
one.
So
Okay. My next one is Tress McNeil. She did a lot of different things. She was Daisy Duck, who I love. She also was Chip of Chip and Dale. In the Simpsons world, she was Agnes Skinner. She was the crazy cat lady / Eleanor Abernathy. She was Harry Plopper. She was Jimbo Jones. She was Brandine Spuckler. Mrs. Muntz.
no, she wasn't Jimbo.
In one thing she was. Must have been at least. Cause
She must have did a replacement one because the voice of Milhouse was Jimbo,
okay.
and that has been replaced now.
Okay. Lunch Lady Doris. Dora. Okay, I put
No,
Dora.
because Doris Grau was the voice of Lunch Lady Doris.
Oh,
The one with the original Smolker voice, like, I
Okay.
spent last night in a ditch.
ditch.
Yeah. And then when she died, and you won't be surprised, she died of throat cancer.
Oh, is that?
That's why she had the voice that she did, was like
Right.
all the packs of smoking that she did a day.
How many packs a day, sweetie?
Yeah, she took over for the voice, and her name was changed to Lunch Lady Dora.
Oh, okay. Manjula, Booberella, Opal, Shauna. Yeah, outside of that, she was also Charlotte Pickles in Rugrats. She was Dot Warner in Animaniacs, which I never watched Animaniacs.
I tried
I know.
showing you, and you just, like with so many things,
Yeah.
you don't give a shit until years after
Until
I
I give
give
a
you a
shit.
chance.
Yeah, we should try it again because Dot's adorable.
I think it's on Hulu. I could be wrong, though.
She was also Babs Bunny.
No relation.
No, she also was Gadget Hackwrench in Chip and Dale, who I loved. And finally, she also played some roles in The Wuzzles, which was one of my favorite little cartoons when I was a kid. So a lot of things.
Yeah, she's basically the Mel Blanc of voice actresses. Like, she's done everything.
Yeah.
Racist and not racist.
Exactly.
Next up, I have Troy Baker.
Okay.
Who you probably know best as the voice of the Last of Us podcast, but he's also Joel from The Last of Us. He's Indiana Jones in the Great Circle, the brand new game that came out last year.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he does a fucking dead-on Harrison Ford impersonation.
Yeah.
Like, holy shit.
No kidding.
Also, when you think of Joel and then you think of Harrison Ford's voice, they're not the same thing.
No.
Not even close.
No. Both rugged, but not the same thing.
Yeah, he's also the main default voices in Saints Row 3 and 4.
Okay.
So when you play that with sound on and you don't change the man's voice, that's him.
Okay.
And he's basically done like almost every single franchise that you can possibly think of when it comes to gaming.
Yeah.
And he's also one that gets murdered in the TV show for The Last of Us as well. Basically working for that preacher, the little sidekick. Well, he's way tall. I think he's like 6'6" or something like that. He's
Okay.
like really tall. But,
Yeah.
I was saying little, but little sidekick of the preacher. And then, takes a butcher knife to the throat.
Yeah.
Yeah, Troy Baker's what I had next.
Very nice. My next one is E.G. Daily.
Oh yes, from her perfect role in 31, the Rob Zombie movie.
Right. Did a lot of things, but the two that stick in my heart are Tommy Pickles from Rugrats and Babe the pig.
Don't forget, she's also Dottie.
That is true.
In Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
That is true.
I'm a loner,
but
Dottie.
I
Rebel.
I love Rugrats, love Tommy Pickles, just the sweetest little voice ever, and Babe, just the cutest little piglet.
See, and I was wrong on that growing up. I thought that was Chucky that was doing Babe's voice.
Yeah.
One who does Chucky Fenster. I was
Makes
wrong.
sense, yeah.
I learned that, but yeah. Next up, tying things back again, I have Toby Huss.
Oh.
Of course, he is Khan and Cotton, two voices he doesn't get to do anymore. I noticed in the trailer that we watched, it was the original Dale voice, Johnny Hardwick, doing those. So
Yes.
I'm assuming those are the first 4 episodes where they show that.
Yeah.
So we don't get to hear what he sounds like as the new version of Dale. Also, a little bit of a tidbit. I've told you many a times, but the original casting for Dale, Daniel Stern.
Yeah, that would have been so weird.
The narrator for the Wonder Years, and of course, you know him best from Home Alone 1 and 2,
The Sticky Bandits or the Wet Bandits.
depending on which movie you see.
Exactly.
And again, that was of that glorious era where you could do a sequel, which is the same goddamn movie in a different location.
Mav.
Harry, don't move. But of course, my favorite role that he's ever done outside of the limo driver and Curb is Todd in Beavis and Butthead,
Yes.
where he just constantly beats the fucking shit out of them all the time. He just has that perfect asshole Todd voice.
Yeah.
And I love it so very, very much. So yeah, Toby Huss.
Nice. My next one is Nancy Cartwright. So obviously did a lot of things from The Simpsons, including Bart Simpson, Nelson Muntz, Ralph Wiggum, one of my favorites, Maggie, Todd McGaggy, Todd Flanders, Database, Wendell, my favorite of the kids, like kids from Simpsons, Ling Bouvier, Kearney, and many others. She also was the voice of Chucky Finster.
The second
Second Chucky Finster.
Because unfortunately, again, I have to bring this up twice.
Yeah.
The voice actress for Chucky Finster committed suicide as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which seems to be a sad fucking trend in voice acting.
Yeah, it's very sad. She also played many roles in My Little Ponies back in my heyday. She was in one of my favorite shows, Shirt Tales, when I was a kid.
I forgot she was in that.
And she was in Pound Puppies too. So she was all over my things from the very beginning of my life.
Little did you know until you looked it up.
I know. Ugh. And she is also Sabrina Carpenter's aunt.
Yes, and nope, not gonna say it, actually. Okay. I think you know what I was gonna say.
I don't know.
Of her religious background.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's how Sabrina got the job. Anyways, next up, arguably my favorite underrated voice actor is Kevin Michael Richardson.
Okay.
He has done so many different roles, including Vice Principal Lewis in American Dad. He's the new voice of Dr. Hibbert in The Simpsons. Like, he's just done so many, like, side character things.
Yeah.
And he always has, like, this amazing role. And it's funny, on the Cleveland show, he was Cleveland Jr. as well.
Yeah.
And he was Lester Crinklesack. Which is so funny when you think about it, because the Cleveland show is about a black guy who voiced by a white guy. Mm-hmm. And his neighbor is a white trash guy played by a black guy.
Yes.
See, everyone gets their shots in.
Exactly.
Also, if I heard it correctly in the trailer, at least I recognize his voice, I think he's the main villain of Borderlands 4.
Oh, okay.
So again, I have to tie that all together again.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's just like when he just has this incredible range from like the deepest of lows to the most high pitch of highs and everything in between. Very, very underrated. And once they started using him in The Simpsons, I think he finally started getting the recognition that he deserved. Mm-hmm. Like, he started doing this well before he became Dr. Hibbert. He was like playing different, like little like security guard number 2 or something like that. But it's just like, he's just got this awesome voice that I wish I had.
Totally. And we are down to our final two. My next one is, no surprise, H. John Benjamin.
Huh. My number 2 as well.
Nice. God. I mean, he doesn't change his voice.
That's not true, goddammit. I have proven to you that is not true.
That is true. For a lot of roles, he doesn't change his voice. But that's okay because it's so, like, just fucking distinct. It's just great. It fits so many different roles. But he is Bob Belcher from Bob's Burgers, as well as Jimmy Jr. He is Sterling Archer from Archer. He is Carl in Family Guy.
Carl, that's what it was.
He is Coach McGurk from Home Movies, as well as a few other roles in there as well. Jason.
Where he has a different voice.
Yes, he does.
He's also Peter Pescadero in Bob's Burgers, where he does a very high-pitched voice.
That's true. That's true. I forgot about that.
He does have a little bit of range.
Yeah, he does.
That Jason's a little more like this.
Yeah, and he's
and then there's the one that's like me all the time.
And he's done other things as well, but I love him. I love his voice.
And my favorite short-lived live-action show, John Benjamin Has a Van.
Yes.
Which I wish was available to stream fucking somewhere so you could see the magic and the power of John Benjamin doing live-action shit.
Yeah. I need to see it. Someday we gotta find this.
I don't think it was ever released on DVD or anything. I could be wrong.
Yeah.
But goddamn, it was such a great show.
Nice.
So, yeah, I have H. John Benjamin as number 2 as well for this.
All right.
Arguably my favorite voice actor of That's Not Number 1 of all time.
Mm-hmm.
For all of those reasons. I mean, all the way back starting with Home Movies is where I first heard his voice, and then of course he really started to come into his own Bob's Burgers, and he makes a joke in Family Guy about how he does impressions of, Carl does.
You ever wonder what it would be like if Bob from Bob's Burgers and Archer from Archer met each other? Hi Bob, I'm Archer. Hi Archer, I'm Bob.
It's so good.
He doesn't change his voice at all.
Good.
But yes, yeah, I love his voice so much. If I can't get Keith David to narrate my life,
Yeah.
I want H.J. Benjamin to do the narration.
100%. Yes, fully agree.
All right, so I am dying to know
Yeah.
who is your number one.
Yeah. And again, it's not necessarily my number one because these aren't in a necessarily particular order, but this one would be pretty high for me.
All right, well, think about it this, since you don't have, did you pick out, was there like one that stood out to you more than any other? Would this be it, or was it one you already talked about?
This would be one of them. So I would say it's between this one, H. John Benjamin, and oh gosh, these probably are my top two, honestly.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, number one.
All right, it is Jim Cummings. He was Winnie the Pooh and Tigger, which I absolutely love Winnie the Pooh. He was also Baloo. He was Pete from like Mickey Mouse Pete. And he was also all these characters in all the Kingdom Hearts games, which is one of my favorite series of all times. He was many voices in Skyrim. He was Scar and Ed in The Lion King. He was many voices in Tailspin and Rescue Rangers, and a couple voices in Gummy Bears as well. And he was Smokey the Bear as well. Like, he did so many things that I absolutely love, and just such a meaningful voice.
And he was in King of the Hill many a times.
Okay.
He was that cranky old neighbor, Pops.
Oh, okay.
He was also Jimmy Hellstrom, aka Jim Hellstrom, when Dale became a bounty hunter, and then he's basically like a different version of Dale.
Yeah.
That's also Jim Cummings as well.
Okay.
He's also the he also teaches the bounty hunting class as well too.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like he did a lot of different voices for a lot of different things.
Oh yeah. He's been around for a long time.
Yeah, he was another voice I wish I could have put on there.
Yeah.
I'm also surprised that you didn't put Minnie/Martin in your list.
I know.
Did she make the list, or did you forget?
She was on the bigger list.
Okay.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
All right, my number one is a complete and utter fucking cop-out. It is the entire voice cast of The Simpsons.
Oh, fuck you. Sorry, I probably just spiked it. I'm sorry.
Oh, of course you did. Yeah. I can't wait to oh, yeah.
Oopsies.
Yeah, well, what are you gonna do?
What you gonna do?
Yeah, I had to cut my list down from 30, 40, 50, down to 10.
Yeah.
My top 10 easily could have been all the different voices of The Simpsons.
Who would your favorite be from The Simpsons voices, though?
It probably would be, it's either Dan Castellaneta or Hank Azaria.
Okay.
Because they voice my favorite characters.
Yeah. Krusty.
Krusty is one of my all-time favorite characters. Comic Book Guy is one of my favorite characters.
Yep.
Like there's, going back that well of me watching the toy reviews and stuff.
Yeah.
There was one series of stuff that was like covering all the big Super 7 ones that we have.
Yeah.
And they were bitching the whole time about, like, we never got a regular Homer. We never got a regular Bart. And to me, it's like, I would rather have the fucking deep cuts.
Yeah.
Than just, like, a normal looking one. I mean, like, Krusty, you can't really do a different one unless it's the one where he looks like George Carlin when he does, like, stand-up.
Yeah.
Like, that's basically all you could really do. Mm-hmm. But I would rather have Homer, Deep Space Homer.
Yeah.
I would rather have Bartman than regular Bart.
Totally.
Yeah.
Completely agree.
The only one that I'm wishing that they would have made before their contract ended was Comic Book Guy.
Yeah.
That would have been fucking amazing to see.
Totally. But we do have him in a set.
Yes, for the Playmates version, where he is the collector.
Yes.
But I still want a regular Comic Book Guy at some point.
100%, yeah.
Yeah, but look, Simpsons is my favorite show of all time. Some of my favorite voices, some of my favorite TV moments ever is The Simpsons, and it was either make all the top 10 Simpsons, or put them all into one entry.
I get you.
So god damn it, I did what I had to do.
I get you.
It's a fucking cop-out. I admit to it wholeheartedly.
Yeah.
And if I couldn't choose any of them, it would be H. John Benjamin is probably my favorite voice actor.
Totally. Mm-hmm.
But yeah, there's so many that I had to cut out. The legendary ones that are known for only one voice, so many different things. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I did the best I could, especially considering I was fucking sick all of yesterday.
That is true.
So I really didn't have the time to like sit down more with this. It was like, you know what? Fuck it. I already have all these entries. I'm just cutting it down to the ones that are the most meaningful to me.
And I appreciate that because obviously we all know your love of The Simpsons. So I would rather see kind of what your important ones are outside of that because I already know those are important to you.
Yeah.
So that makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Are there any notable ones you want to mention that you cut out?
Ron Funches.
Yeah, I totally forgot about him.
Of course, he's in the Great North as Honeybee's brother, who
Yes.
just so happens to move to Alaska as
Yes,
well.
yes,
Of course, King Shark
yes.
is probably the best role he's ever done.
Yeah.
Although, he's really taken on this mantra of, I want to get paid more and do less.
Yeah.
So, like, I think he says all of, like, 6 lines in the latest season of Harlequin, which really sucks. But then again, his son Sean basically takes over for him, so that's okay.
True. That is true.
Yeah, Mel Blanc, Jim Cummings, obviously. Yeah, you could pick pretty much anybody from Rugrats. That would have made total sense to me as well.
Matt and Trey from South Park.
Yes.
There's so many there, but I'm like, I'm not putting you both on. I'm not picking one, so you're just going to be on the wayside.
Yeah. I mean, you beat me to saying that.
Yeah.
I'd also have to say Isaac Hayes as Chef.
Oh,
as well.
totally. Yeah.
That's such a legendary voice. That was originally supposed to go to Barry White.
I could see that.
But I'm glad it went to the one that recorded Shaft.
Yeah, totally.
But yeah, that's our voice actress list. What do you think? Did we pick out some good ones? I know we left out many of them, so why don't you tell us what are your favorite ones that we did miss out on, or if there's any that you agree with. I can't imagine you would be pissed at us for picking any of these particular ones.
Yeah.
But, just in case there is, why don't you surprise us and let us know down below. We probably have another 2-hour show ahead of us. Well, since it is that time of the show, since we're well past the halfway point, it's time for us, well, probably more than ever, it's time for me to open up that little black book. And time to check out all of those hot, sexy singles. Yes, this is the segment of the show where we check out the latest singles from bands with upcoming albums. Normally, sometimes it's EPs, sometimes standalone singles, whatever the case may be. And we got quite the variety this week. Starting with
Warman with Band of Brothers.
Yes, Yari is back with Warman. Second album since let's call it what it is, the demise of Children of Bodom.
Yeah.
And sadly, the demise of Alexi Leo as well. This sounds less like Children of Bodom, unlike the previous album, which basically did sound like Children of Bodom. This one has a bit more diversity to it, and I really appreciate that. Why? Because I know Yari is so much more capable than what he did in Children of Bodom. He's always shown that off in different ways.
Yanni.
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Yanni has always shown his versatility, and you got to see little hints of it in Children of Bodom, and, of course, in Warman as well, but now he's sadly free to be his own person again. And I feel like the last album was kind of like him, purging the Children of Bodom out of his system. And this is now more of what Warmen could be.
Yeah, I really like what's going on here. Like, I've been a longtime fan of Warman, like back when they were like mostly instrumental too. And I've always just loved his keyboard playing. But yeah, last album was definitely, I can see how that was the kind of the purging of Children of Bodom. I mean, he still has his style on this album, but it's definitely kind of moving forward, you know? And I like Petri. I don't know how to say his name for sure.
I don't think it's Petri Dish. I think
Petri
it is
Dish.
Petri.
Petri. On vocals, he just fits right in with them. It's just really good. Good stuff. Up next, we have Celestial Wizard with Pale Horse.
Yes, this is a brand new discovery to both of us. I saw them listed from their press release as power metal meets metalcore. So that really grabbed my attention, and I think that is a very apt description as well. Like, it does feel kind of like if Killswitch Engage kind of went into a more power metal route, and I am all for it. The music behind it just was like nice, heavy, aggressive, and it does have that great mix of the screams and the cleans going on. The fact that a 3-4 minute long music video that is a Western held so much more power and glory to it than Death Rider in the House of Vampires really says a fucking lot about what Glenn Danzig is capable of being a director.
Oh, God.
Seriously, if you've never seen Death Rider in the House of Vampires, first of all, don't.
You probably can't at this point.
Well, no, it's available.
Is it? Okay.
Yeah, remember they had a physical release and we
That's
were even
true.
contemplating buying it.
That is true.
I also remember that you sent an email asking when the soundtrack was going to be available, and then
It was
you
just
never
so
got a
terrible.
response back.
No.
Death Rider rides alone. Yeah.
Oh, God.
Come on, that's Devin Sawa's best role.
That is true.
I saw a post from him, like, I think it was last week on Threads. It's like, yeah, Final Destination Bloodlines might have made more money, and it's probably the better movie, but they can never do a face like I did in Final Destination. At least he's self-aware.
Yeah, that's good at least.
Despite him being in that Fred Durst movie as well.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he seems to really like his music.
Yeah.
He'll work with Fred Durst, he'll work with Danzig,
Right.
John Travolta.
He'll take what he can.
Well, I was going to say that he had appreciation for music. That's why
That
he's
is
doing
true.
it. But yeah, that's also the case. Like, if anyone wants to hire him, I don't think he's in a position to say no.
No.
But anyways, back to Celestial Wizard. I really like this. I can't wait till I get the promo. Usually what happens when I get promos is when the second single comes out, is when the album comes out, and I'm very curious to hear the rest of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I really like this too. Super catchy. Totally agree with if Killswitch did a little bit more power metal-esque music, because it has that harsh side, but then it has those lovely power metal clean vocals over it, and it's just great.
Which reminds me, the new Crimson Shadows will be coming out soon.
Oh, yeah.
It's either June or July.
Okay, I'm excited for that one. Up next, we have In Mourning with the Sojourner.
Yeah, which you thought it was a Native American term. Again, proving again it's Scandinavian.
Yeah.
I swear you were thinking of a different word.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That could be.
Anyways, this is a band that really started off as more of like a gothic metal band. Celestial Tear is arguably my favorite ballad ever made, and it's made by In Mourning. Mm-hmm. Since that point, they've become more of a melodeath band, which I am not against. They still have that gothic tinge to all of it, but it's still very much of the melodeath persuasion. I really love this song. It's very goddamn emotional, just in the way that In Mourning does. And of course, it's not mourning as in the sunrise. Of course, it is mourning as in, like, when you lose somebody.
Mm-hmm. Mourning a loss.
Yes, it has to be that way. Yeah, this is just the first single, but I can't wait to hear the rest.
Yeah, I really like this too. Really nice melodic moments, really good guitar, really love the vocals. Both the harsh and clean are really good. Like you said, super emotional, but yeah, this is a good one. But next we have Earn with Harken the Waves, which is featuring Trot Sanders of Mastodon.
I'm sorry, what the fuck did you just say?
I put Trot as a Troy. I'm sorry.
The fuck you said?
Let's just go Trot.
Let me do my show, for fuck's sake.
Trot Sanders.
Foxtrot Sanders.
Fuck's a Trot Sanders.
It's Troy.
Troy Sanders.
From Mastodon. Or
yes.
Mastodon. Or Massive Dong, depending
Massive
on who
Dong.
you are. Yeah, Earn seems to change their sound on every album. Their first album was very much like Opeth meets Nevermore. Their second album, a lot of changes happened in their personal lives and in the lineup of the band, and they became a much doomier, like Gorgira meets Doom style. And sadly, that whole album is about the sadness, anger, frustration, and the loss of life that happens with Alzheimer's. So it hits really fucking hard. Despite me not even being fucking told about it, my grandma died of Alzheimer's last year. So, yeah, just hurts just a little bit more.
Yeah.
But this time it seems like almost kind of like they're going in a Mastodon route, which kind of makes sense why they would have Troy Sanders on here doing some of the clean vocals on here. It's very proggy in the sense that there's a lot of different movements that happen throughout it. Like, they never seem to stay onto one riff for too long. Like, it constantly switches. For some people, it's kind of like the Metal Faerie when she supposedly gets motion sickness when watching TV. You know, it's just like you can't really handle that. For some people, it's exactly what you're looking for. For me, I need to hear the rest of it to really get a grasp of it, because I'm kind of feeling the same way that I did with the first single off their previous album, where I feel like I just need to hear the whole thing in context to see what they're going for. But I do like what I'm hearing. I just need more context.
Yeah, it's not bad, but it just really isn't my thing. Like, there's some elements I like, there's some guitar I like, but it's just so abstract. Like you said, there's a lot of different moving pieces and stuff, and it's not for me. And you're shaking your head no.
Well, it's just, even the parts that you do like, it's not worth it to you.
Yeah, but it's not enough. Not enough that I like. Up next we have Manegarm with Hor Meet Cull.
That is one way to put it.
I don't know how to pronounce it.
Come on, try it again.
Or Meet Cull?
Yeah, fine, fuck it. It's Viking metal through and through.
How do you say it?
That's probably the closest I would get to it as well.
Okay, well then.
But yeah, Manegarm is back with their excellent blend of Viking metal meets Melodeath thrown together. I think they're arguably one of the most underrated Viking metal bands, if you call that a genre. I arguably don't, because Enslaved, Amon Amarth, Unleashed, Manegarm, they're all considered Viking metal, but none of them sound the same. So, I don't think it's fair to call a genre after a supposed gimmick.
Yeah.
Just like pirate metal, I don't consider to be a thing. It's power metal with pirate themes.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, I see Ailstorm has a new album, and fuck that noise.
Yeah, fuck them.
But anyways, with this song, I absolutely dig it. I talked to them on their last album. Sadly, with the way the wind fucking blows these days, I won't be able to do that this time. But I sure as fuck will be covering it for a review, because I love what they're doing here. And their best songs are usually never the singles. So if this is what they're doing as a single, the album is going to be so much better.
Yeah, I really like this song. Super catchy, super intense. And I love the vocals. They're super powerful. The singer looks like he could like drag you back to his cave and do some shit,
Yeah, absolutely.
And then finally,
And now for something completely different.
we have Yellowcard with Better Days.
Again, every band that was big in the early to mid 2000s seems like in the 2020s they have to write a song about how better life was back in the day.
Yep.
Story of the Year did it with 2005. Now Yellowcard is doing it with Better Days. Although with the music video, they're clearly talking about the movies that they grew up on.
Yeah, back in the 80s.
But when you listen to the lyrics, they're talking about when Ocean Avenue was a big thing.
Yes.
It's what we call a swerve.
Exactly.
That said, also, the whole album is produced by Travis Barker. I don't know where he has the time.
Yeah.
I mean, being
A Kardashian.
I was going to say, now being a part of the Kardashian family, I don't know where he has the time to do anything.
Right.
Are they actually married or are they just dating?
I think they're married now. They have a kid.
Okay, well, that doesn't mean anything.
Well, no. I know, but I thought they got married. Yeah.
Okay, well, that shows how little I pay attention. But the fact that Yellowcard is putting out this quality of music when other bands of their era have put out shit is actually a very welcoming thing to see.
Yeah.
Like, it's basically like what happened with glam bands in the 2000s, where they felt like they had to keep writing songs about how great times were in the 80s.
Right.
And so many of those songs were fucking terrible. They turned into like Christian acoustic acts and stuff like that. Or they would write stuff for Light FM.
Yeah.
It feels like people have learned in the last 20 years that you can be who you were back then, but just make it a bit more mature. And that's what Yellowcard's doing. I like it.
Yeah, I thought it was super catchy. Like, it definitely takes you back to that time, like, in a good way, though. They sound good, decent. Yeah, it's a cheesy video and song and stuff, but
They were always a cheesy band.
Exactly.
They're pop punk with a violin. What did you expect?
That's true. But yeah, it's good stuff.
And that's what you expect from hot, sexy singles. Time to close up that little black book. Although I might open it up again sometime this week. Who knows? And we'll see what they have for next week's agenda. So what do you think? Did we pick out some good singles, some bad singles? Anything that we might have missed out on? I thought I covered everything, but it's very possible I missed some new shit that's come out. So if I did miss anything and you want our thoughts on us, please let us know down below. Alright, folks, it is June 1st, 6 p.m. As of hitting record on here, I am hungry. We need to get some food after this.
Yeah.
So it is time, of course, for Out Today and What I Missed. It was technically May 30th, 2025, so yeah, we're back to doing a Sunday show, which I am not fucking used to doing anymore. I'm so used to us doing this on Fridays lately.
Yes.
So yeah, this technically isn't accurate. All of these are available now. Did you listen to any of these while you were gone?
No.
You really fucking should have, because, there's some of them on here that are going to be your favorites of the year.
Oh, I agree.
And of course, we'll be talking about that more. But we have 20 brand new albums, 10 that came out on Friday, and 10 that came out before then. Technically, one of these came out on the last Sunday, a week from, we're a week ahead of when that came out, but I still count that. I've also noticed that a lot lately, especially for different bands. They will release an album any fucking day that they want to.
Yeah.
If they're independent, they're not on a label, they'll release it on a fucking Monday. There's a promo that I got for an album that is coming out on a Sunday as well. Nice. Sometimes they come out on Thursdays. Like, it's hard to keep track.
Yeah.
So I might have to change it to Out This Week in What I Missed at some point.
Yeah.
But still, a majority of them are still coming out on Fridays. And also, I have an update for OT&WIM at the end of the show. Even the Metal Faerie doesn't know about this, but
Okay.
we'll see what happens.
All right.
First up, we have Death Rattle with the Moral Chokehold. The best way I can describe this is modern groove metal. When I normally hear groove metal, that makes me tug my collar and cringe, because there's one band I associate with that, Pantera.
Yeah.
That is where all bro riffs basically originated, is Dimebag Darrell. I'm not saying he wasn't a good guitar player, he could shred like a motherfucker and stuff like that, but all of the bros that are inspired by Dimebag, writing all these bro riffs, that is considered groove metal, and I can't do that.
No.
But modern groove metal is basically more Gojira, which I am much more happy to associate with groove metal. And there's a lot of bands that have been inspired by Gojira lately, including the new album from Death Rattle, despite that also being a Pantera song title. I'm not sure if the two are related, or it's just the noise you make when you die. But this is like a grand mix of Lamb of God, Crowbar, and, again, Gojira. You have Speed from Soilwork, who shows up on the song that I showed the Metal Faerie. Yeah, they just really find this way of, like, doing almost melodeath, almost metalcore, but modern groove metal all thrown in the one. It's some pretty cool stuff. And I've also learned Speed will do anything that he is asked of him.
Yeah.
Like, he will show up on any project if you just give him enough money.
He is the town bicycle. But no, I like the song that I heard. It's very powerful and intense. The cleans over it really brought like this harmony to the chaos that was going on. And yeah, I was enjoying it.
Next up, we have Graceless with Icons of Ruin. The fourth album from this death doom band from the Netherlands is exactly pretty much what I've needed for 2025. It's that patented death doom style of the 90s that I love, basically the bolt thrower, Asphyx, and, you know, in the 2010s when it came to Hail of Bullets as well. Also, I feel like this is a really complimentary pairing album to the latest album from Sculpture known as Landkrieg, which we covered earlier this year. I also think that would be an incredible show as well, but if you love that 90s era death metal where it's not super brutal, super technical, but it's not slow enough to be considered doom, that's Graceless. And you know what? It has a lot of grace to it, surprisingly.
Yeah, I really like this one too. Super catchy. It's very dark and moody, but still very melodic. It has really nice drums on it. I got a little bit of a Tribulation vibe from it, and I love Tribulation, so.
And again, I'm very fucking surprised you like this one because you hate so many bands of that particular genre.
I know.
You're weird.
I am weird.
You are weird.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you one of your favorite albums of the year if it doesn't end up being your fucking album of the year. It is Lessdmv or Lessdmv. I really don't know the right pronunciation for this.
Yeah.
With Epitaph 2, the sophomore solo album from Julien Larrey of Lacrimas Profunde, who on yesterday, he did his Sanctuary show where he basically had the Metal Faerie actually checked out the interview like she said she was going to, she would know that he was doing only one show to celebrate this album, the day of release. It technically came out on Saturday, not Friday. Where he did an acoustic version of most of the songs off of this album and stuff off of his first album as well. Of course, all of the girls who added me after my recent interview with Julian were there taking pictures with a shirtless Julian as well, sticking their tongues out and stuff. I just imagine like this mass orgy that could have happened.
Right.
He's a walking thirst trap. I mean, he just
God,
is.
yes.
But he's also one of the best guys that I've ever met as well. Like, I was the first person to get to hear this album outside of his circle. And by circle, I mean the ones who created the album. I was the first one who got to hear it. I was the first interview that he did because he only wanted to talk to me first about this album.
Yeah.
He put me in front of thousands and thousands of people on his Patreon and Instagram and other stuff. I had no fucking idea about it until we had to do 2 parts of a Zoom interview because, you know, I refused to pay $200 a year for Zoom. So I had to take a 10-minute break while I was waiting for a new meeting. And the person handling promotions for his album said, "Everyone loves you right now. Don't worry about it. It's okay that you have to take 10 minutes. I was like, what? And then when we got back into it, I saw that he was talking to people on his chat rooms and stuff.
Yeah.
And then he said that everyone, don't worry about it. Everybody loves you. They think that you're so great at what you're doing. You're asking such great questions. And I almost shit my pants. My interviews, surprisingly enough, the only audience I normally have is the person sitting to my extreme left, otherwise known as the right. That's the most. I've never done a live interview in my entire goddamn life.
Yeah.
You know, I've done in-person ones, but usually it's just me and the person that I'm talking to.
Yeah.
I've never done it in front of thousands of fucking people before. And I didn't know about it.
I know.
But honestly, you would not have known. I've gone back and looked at those parts, and you would not have guessed that I did not know about it. But at the moment, it was just, what? That said, this is basically like the whole musical palette of what Julian has been doing for so long. It's 2000s Finnish goth, it's almost black metal at times, it's melodeath at times, it's goth, it's everything that you expect from someone of the Bam Margera era bands. Except he grew up after that fact. He's younger than I am now. That is a fucking hard thing to admit. Yeah, you look at him and you look at me and you're seeing two very different people. He is a walking thirst trap and I could not make anyone drier.
Jesus. Oh.
But yeah, I love this album from start to finish. And I don't mean that as a pun when I say Finnish. He's originally from Mexico and he moved to Finland, start to finish.
Exactly.
Yeah, again, like if you love the Bam Margera bands of like him, Lacrimas Profundae, all those bands, basically all the bands that the Metal Fairy grew up on and just like gushed over, you're gonna love this album.
Yeah. I haven't heard the full thing yet, but
Shame on you.
I know. But what I did hear, I absolutely love. Gothy, electronic, dark with Julian's vocals. Perfection.
If I understand things correctly as well, I make a joke about the song In the Dark, which is the latest single. I think he chose that because I said how much I liked it.
Aww.
Seriously, I didn't realize how much of an effect I had on him.
That's awesome.
And we're also going to be talking when the new Lacrimas Profundae comes out around October, if I remember correctly.
All right.
Although things change all the goddamn time, so
that
could be different. But yeah, I love this album. It's album of the year worthy to me.
Totally.
And I'll tell you what's not for you is the latest album and the debut album from Low Before the Breeze with A Hole Below the House We Shared. Yeah, this is basically a concept album about a breakup, a very chaotic breakup, basically one of the most chaotic albums about this theme that I've heard since Converge's Jane Doe. The singer of this band did a little guest spot on the final track off of the Callous Cowboys' new album, I Don't Want to See You in Heaven, country song in reverse, doing his fucking insane vocals. Of course, that's not going to be for everybody, but the fact that he could pull those off is incredible. Yeah, this is a very overwhelming experience, I will say. Like, sometimes it's as raw as black metal, even in the production, and then sometimes it gets so polished and it gets so electronic, like it becomes overbearing to the senses. And I can't remember the last time an album did that to me, but I was intrigued from start to finish. This is not going to be for everybody, as you're about to hear, but it was for me.
Yeah. So for the song, I heard, oddly enough, the pure like chaotic moments I kind of liked, but I just wanted something like super melodic to bring it all together. But instead, I got what sounded like a toddler screaming in a tantrum. And that just did not do it for me.
Well, that's what blackened screamo is.
Yeah.
And yes, this is one of the only times you'll actually hear me use the term screamo, because that's what it fucking is.
Yeah.
We both grew up in that period where if you screamed or growled in a band, you were considered screamo.
Yes. Yeah.
And I don't have pet peeves. I have psychotic fucking hatreds. And that is one of them. When you just like classify all fucking bands as screamo.
Love that.
Anyways, next up we have Needless with Premonition. 3 albums into the band's career since 2004. They took a long break in between their debut and sophomore album, which came out a couple years ago in 22. This one comes out 3 years later, and it sees the band continuing to go more into the progressive death metal and also some thrash and groove elements going on throughout all of this. Like, it is a progressive death metal album through and through, but the fact that they do switch things up where it gets a little bit thrashy at times, a little more groove-based at times, I really dig it, and I appreciate what they're doing here.
Yeah, I enjoyed it. Very powerful sounding. It just sounds like they're out to fuck something up, And I really like the vocals as well, and some nice guitar work as well. So good stuff.
Next up is the 5th album and self-titled from Rivers of Nihil. This is a band who has gone through quite the fucking transition. They started off as like a pure tech death band. Then when it came to their third album, Where Owls Know My Name, they became basically the stars of progressive death metal in the 2010s, despite the album coming out in 2019, but you know what I mean. Of course, this is the band's fifth album now. They have had quite the change. Their main vocalist has left the band, and Adam Briggs is now doing the growls and still doing bass and writing all the songs for the band. And clean vocalist Andy Thomas of Black Crown Initiate is now taking over on guitar and clean vocals. Does this mean Black Crown Initiate is done? Fucking probably, because I don't know where he would have the time considering how big Rivers of Nihil is. And I also have the sneaking suspicion that Andy always wanted to be in Rivers of Nihil, and he just immediately jumped at the chance. Back when we were friends, I always got that impression.
Yeah.
But if that truly is the case, I'm glad he's happy.
Yeah.
That said, this is probably ranked 4th out of 5 for me in their whole catalog.
Yeah.
There's so much I love about this album. Like, it hits those moments of Where Owls Know My Name, the progressive death metal sides. You hear some of the tech death stuff going on as well. But there's the occasional song or two that is straight up libertarian songs. Knowing Andy and Adam, that checks out. And that just like completely took my love out of the album. There's songs I love off of this, but listening to the album as a whole is hard for me to do. Some people say this is the best album they've ever made, and there's an argument for that because I feel like the clean vocals are better than ever. Andy has always had some of the best clean vocals out there for this particular style. I love the progginess that's going on. I love that they brought in some of the more tech death stuff again. Even when they just go like full on death metal at times, I appreciate it. But I have to stand my ground in political stuff like that. If we just don't coincide, I'm just not going to appreciate it as much as I could. So unfortunately, they're playing those songs live in the set list that I've seen. So I'm kind of not as sad as I could have been that we didn't see them last week.
Yeah.
But shit happens. I think it's still worth checking out. If you don't care about the political stuff like I do, you'll probably love it more than I do.
Yeah, I've heard the singles so far. There's definitely some I like more than others. The ones I do like have some nice power and emotions in there, and I do like Andy's voice on them. But yeah, like you, I'm not libertarian. I don't want to support libertarian anthems. So I feel like if I listen to the rest of the album, it'll probably be about the same. There'll be some I like, some that I can kind of do without.
That's basically it. But I still wanted to cover it.
Totally.
Next up, we have Svart Vinter with Isvind. This is the sophomore album from this Italian black metal band that couldn't be more inspired by 90s Scandinavian black metal. Like Immortal, Niflheim, Dissection, all of those bands are throughout this one. It is an icy cold album, and I don't mean that just because of the band name. And I don't mean that because of the album title. Like, it just, like, it has that feel behind it, even if you didn't know what the titles were. I also learned that many of the band is also in a band known as Veil of Conspiracy, which I covered earlier this year, which is progressive funeral doom that both of us really enjoyed, but I know you completely forgot about.
I remember the name.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Yeah, progressive funeral doom that I loved, and I love the fact that they're doing something that's like 90s Scandinavian black metal as well. I think it's cool to see that a part of their musical palette. But yeah, if you want a modern throwback, check out Svart Vinter.
Yeah, I really like this too. Like you said, it absolutely goes straight for that cold black metal feeling. It's super emotion filled. It gives you chills. Yeah.
Next up, now for something completely different. We have True North with Either Way, The Sun's Exploding. The sophomore album from this LA band is basically a mix of what I like to consider MTV2 hard rock. Basically, all the music that you would hear before Headbangers Ball is on here. Like, I hear Story of the Year, I hear Thursday, I hear Taking Back Sunday, I hear all these different bands all rolled into one. It's alternative rock, emo, and pop punk all thrown into one. They also have some modern tropes going on with like bands like I Prevail, Beartooth, and I've heard a lot of people say some Bring Me the Horizon stuff going on as well, but I'm not well versed in them outside of their deathcore album that they made in the beginning of their career, so that's really hard for me to to say, but I really like this. I think it's a really cool 21st century rock album.
Yeah, the song I checked out was very catchy. It's boy band vocals with metal, which is always a perfect combination in my book. So, yeah, good stuff.
Next up is Volk with 5. Again, this was the album that technically came out a week ago today, but yeah, I still considered it for out today section. This is the 5th album in 5 years from this band.
Damn.
From the Netherlands, and the fact that they probably have written the best album after 5 years and 5 albums is fucking insane. You would think people would be burnt out after that amount of time, but then again, like the Beatles and Zappa and Creedence and all those bands, like they were in the studio like every 6 months to put out a new album.
Yeah.
So I guess some people are able to do that. Of course, 2 of those 3 you despise and 1 you tolerate, but but yeah, this duo is absolutely incredible. The vocalist of this band is also in a band called Terziel, which is very much of the very depressing Black and Doom style. So, you know, again, seeing this kind of melodic black style is very cool. This also has a lot of like haunting Castlevania vampire keyboards going on throughout the entire album. And I think that's what really seals the deal and separates this album from their previous work. Every album is a bit different, and having this one basically kind of sound like the soundtrack to Symphony of the Night. Fucking love that. I think this is easily the best album that they've done and is going to be one of the best mellow black albums of 2025.
Yeah, I loved it. I felt like I was in Dracula's castle. Black metal with vampiric keyboards, like perfection.
And finally, for brand new albums that came out back on Friday is Wolves at the Gate with Wasteland. I've always heard of these guys ever since they started in the beginning of the 2010s, but I've never checked them out for whatever reason. When I finally got the promo for this one, I thought I would actually just give them a shot. That's one thing I've been doing this year is like anything that seems like it could be of any interest to me, I will at least give a shot. Much to my chagrin with all of that is I'm so fucking backed up with music now because of all of that.
Yeah.
And I'll be getting to that at the end of this segment as well. But I finally checked them out and I actually really enjoy what they're doing. Like, this reminds me a lot of what the 2010s, 2020 bands are doing of that modern metalcore style. I hear a lot of Memphis Mayfire, Savage Hands, and Is Okay throughout all of this. I've also learned that this is a Christian band, which I don't gravitate towards. Like, if I hear a Christian band, it's like, oh, fuck, I gotta listen to this, for Christ. I don't do that. But I listen to as much Neil Morse as I do Behemoth as I do Orphanland. Like, that doesn't bother me. Religious messages, as long as they're not full of hate, I have no problem with. Of course, Behemoth, it's hate of everything. It's not racist or sexist or anything like that. That's not what I meant. They just want to see the world burn. That's something completely different. I also saw in the news today that the rumor of asteroids hitting Earth is happening again today, but it's like less than a percentage of a chance of happening, so it's like cool. It doesn't matter. But of course, all of the comments is like, God damn it, I wish it would hit. And it's like, yeah, I kind of see your point. I kind of see your But when it comes to Wolves at the Gate, if you like modern metalcore, I don't know if they're the best. They're far from the worst, and I like what they do.
Yeah, I really liked it. It was very catchy, electronic-y metal with both harsh vocals and kind of boy band vocals too. Like, it's a good combination. I will say their promo picture on Spotify, it looks like they're live from prison, which is funny, but
Cressy the Clown, prison special.
Exactly.
All right, now time for all the stuff that I've missed along the way. Starting with a debut album from a Japanese power and speed metal band known as Ball Hell with The Way of Our Life. And again, this is another band that will occasionally use English but speaks everything in Spanish. Or not Spanish, Japanese. And that is very, very confusing. I first noticed that with Boris, who constantly does that all the goddamn time. And then I've noticed it more and more the more I go down the Japanese metal road. Basically, this is X-Japan meets Freedom Call. I can't sell it better than that. It's everything you love about X-Japan, but it just has this positive sound that Freedom Call can only do. Mix that together, you have Ball Hell.
Yeah, I really love this. It's super powerful, just pounding power metal with those amazing vocals over it. Super catchy.
All right, I got to take a deuce, so we're going to be going a little bit faster here.
Sure.
Next up is a band that has like gone out of their way to really show their support ever since I have put up the review back on Friday.
Yeah.
They posted a lot of stuff on their Facebook and Instagram and a whole bunch of other stuff, so I can't thank you guys enough. Awesome. It is Bent by Sorrow with Sakura. This is a debut album from a Greek band that is really, really inspired by Japanese culture. Not something you normally see.
Yeah.
To make it short, this is Gojira meets Mutiny Within's first album. Like, it's alternative, it's hard rock, but there's just enough groove and metalcore thrown in here and the faintest elements of prog all thrown together. So yeah, you take out the wankiness of Mutiny Within's first album and you mix that with Gojira, you have Bent by Sorrow.
Yeah, I really like this. Super melodic, but still pounding and heavy. Some punk vibes thrown in at moments, but kind of darker at the same time. It's a good mix.
Next up, we have Conan with Violence Dimension. I did not get the promo for this one. I see they switched labels, so I apologize, John. I did not get to cover you in a timely manner, but I hope this still counts. This is the 6th album from this very ultra heavy, sludgy doom metal band. It takes a lot for me to enjoy sludge and doom metal mixed together. Like, you got to do something that appeals to me, and that's what Conan does every single time. I love what they do. I always have, and this album is no exception. This basically feels like an album that is like a response to everything that's going on in the world right now, and we kind of need a violent album like this in 2025. It's a very pissed off album, and it's also very motivational when you listen to the lyrics. It's like the kind of music that you'd put on to do a Rocky montage or something when you listen to the lyrics. But yeah, this album makes me want to crush everything in my path, and considering the state of the world, I think we could all use that right now.
I didn't see the lyrics or anything, so I appreciate the message, though, that you're saying that it has, but I'm not a sludge metal person. This was a no for me. Like, I kind of kept waiting for it to get to a point, but I felt like it never really took off for me for the song I heard. And the vocals kind of were the same thing. It just kind of lazed along for me, so it just wasn't my cup of tea.
Well, this probably will be. Next up is basically one of the most tongue-in-cheek tributes that is also earnest at the same time to that late 70s through early 90s glam rock scene. It is Cougar Toy Boy with Cougar Business. Yeah, this is glam rock through and through. I hear Sweet, I hear Warrant, I hear Faster Pussycat, I hear everything on here. And all you have to do is listen to the lyrics of I've Got a Feeling, which is the song that you heard, and you know exactly what this band is about. Dirty, fun, and debauchery. That's all it is. Steel Panther is more of like, we're doing this music, but it's also a fuck you at the same time. Cougar Toy Boy is like doing this tongue-in-cheek, but they actually have a real love for the music as well. And despite the production I wish was a little better, I really do like this one.
I thought it was very funny. I think it's great for a giggle, but I do find it to be a cheap imitation. I don't feel like the musicianship is really there compared to other good bands in the area.
Well, you haven't heard enough of it.
Well, that might be true. That might be true.
Next up is Destruction of Orion with State of Horror, the sophomore album from this Bulgarian one-woman project from Tiana Spazova. I really hope I pronounced your name right. I feel like I screwed it up in the review as well. She also takes on the name of Orion in her band. So the destruction of Orion is basically the destruction of herself. So if you can't figure out what style of music this is, it is funeral doom. Yeah, this is basically an album full of self-hatred, the depression, so much despair, the state of the world, everything that's going on, everything that I love about Funeral Doom in a nutshell. This is her second album in 2 years, and I already see the progression that she's going through with the music. Like, it feels better in the production. It's still quite raw, but you know, that also works for the style of music. I feel like the songs are grander. There's more keyboards going on throughout all of this. There's more variety going on. It's also the kind of album that if you just need a good cry because of the fucking world around you, you put this one on. It's a very good cathartic album for that. Yeah, if you love Funeral Doom the way that I do, or if you just want to see what the genre is all about, give this one a shot.
Yeah, definitely very melancholy vibes going on here. Lots of creepy elements. Like, there's choir vocals throughout that just kind of give it that extra kind of chilling kind of atmosphere to it. I do wish the vocals were a bit more prominent in the mix, because I would just like them to come through a little bit more. But other than that, it's a very interesting mix.
Next up, we have Firmament with A World If You Can Take It. This is a band that has been trying to work things together for a long time. They've traveled from like the East Coast to the West Coast, now out of Texas. It seems like they can't stay in in one place because of members and stuff like that, but this is a very interesting mix to me. The first time I've ever seen the phrase post-metalcore used up, and I think that is probably a very apt description of them. It is post-hardcore and post-metal thrown together, and also the faintest bits of prog that you really don't see coming. If you've ever heard a band that I've been touting for years called Head with Wings, I think this is a perfect pairing to go along with them, and I think that would be an incredible show to see. Yeah, these two brothers do some incredible work here, and now that they are just a duo now where they're doing everything, I'm very curious to see where they're going to be going now. Hopefully they binged and purged all of their problems and they're able to weather the storm going forward, because if this is what they're doing now, I'm very curious to see what they do next.
Yeah, I really liked it. Super catchy, very melodic, really nice vocals, some good harmonies in there too. I really liked what they're doing.
Next up, we have another Album of the Year contender for the Metal Faerie with Florian Grey with Beautiful Nightmares. Basically everything that I could say about Lessdmv or Lessdmv, however you pronounce it, this is true of this German goth band. Like, it is 90s, 2000s goth rock, goth metal through and fucking through. If you love him, Lacrimus Refunde, The Latter-day Sentenced, Poison Black, and even bands like To Die For, Florian Grey is the band for you.
Yeah, I really loved it. Gothy, emotional, dark, lots of synths going on, really nice vocals, good stuff.
Well, we gotta keep going with that trend of good stuff here with Panzer Ballet and Ubercode Curve. The seventh album from this off-the-wall fucking bonkers jazz metal band is everything that I expect from them. Like, they started off doing ABBA and Zappa covers. Yeah, that was like their first songs that they ever did was like covers of Zappa and ABBA.
That adds up.
And now they're in 7 albums. They've covered the Simpsons theme. They've done so many different things. But on this one, they do covers of Meshuggah, Planet X, and, of course, a vocal version of Ode to Joy, of course, Beethoven, with some of your favorite vocals that you've heard all year.
Sure.
This is just a fucking bonkers album to try to wrap your mind around. It is like the pure definition of jazz metal, almost improv jazz, where it does kind of feel like at times that they are just making up stuff on the spot. Some people are going to fucking hate this, and others are going to love it, but if you dare to see what they're all about, check out Panzer Ballet.
Let's just throw different notes at the wall and see where they land. Fuck melody. We're above that shit.
But Ode to Joy, they did Ode to Joy.
The vocal line.
Yeah, it's there.
The rest of the music is random notes in random spots.
And the vocals as well, too. You know, it's just like they're so on tone.
I said the vocals, yeah, but everything else.
I thought you were going to shit on them. I was trying to set you up for you shitting on the vocals.
No, I'm not going to shit on the vocals.
Okay.
I'm shitting on everything else.
All right, fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Oh, also, Marco Miniman does many songs on the album, including that particular song.
Oh, right.
I know it's not the Aristocrats. I know, but fuck you. They put on a good show. You can't deny that.
They did.
Both times that we saw them.
Yes.
And finally today, we have Sylvanshine with The Offering.
Oh, we mixed one.
Oh, did we? Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. My apologies. Skipped right over that. It is Pelican with Flickering Resonance. Potential instrumental album of the year for me. Pelican has always been my favorite instrumental post-rock, post-metal band. This is their 7th album and their first one since 2019, and goddamn did I need them back. They are the reason that I ever got into the genre in the first place. I know a lot of people might have gotten into Explosions in the Sky or Godspeed You Black Emperor or whatever the case is. Pelican was the band for me because they're just metal enough, but they have these post-rock elements full of like pure emotion in the riffs that you don't need vocals for this. They never have and they never will, and this album just proves that once again. This is potential instrumental album of the year for me, along with Sometime in February. Yeah, I can't say enough good stuff about it. If you like instrumental post-rock and post-metal, you need Pelican.
So the song I heard, I will first say that it is definitely a masterpiece compared to Panzer Ballet.
The fuck?
That said, it's a little repetitive.
Well, that's the point.
The point is to be repetitive?
No, well, it's to maintain that sound, and then you do the dynamics. You go higher and lower, and then you do variations off of that riff. That's where a lot of post-rock and post-metal comes from.
Well, it's still a little repetitive for me. But when the guitar starts on top of everything and kind of kicks in a little bit harder, then it's not bad.
Fair enough. And finally, now we're getting to the final album of the week, Sylvanshine with The Offering. Yeah, again, in the words of Joey Lawrence, Whoa. This is just how I love my black gaze and post-black. Like, everything about this is just what I love about the genre. Musically, there's so much to love about this. Like, I would recommend this to anyone who wants to get into the genre. But there's one key exception that makes this different than basically every other post-black and post-black band out there, and that comes in the form of the vocals. In this style, you normally hear black metal vocals. These are more death metal vocals. They're lower in tone, so you don't hear the screeching wailing of black metal on here. Sorry, I'm losing my train of thought because I'm getting hungry and stuff like that. But yeah, this is a one-man band that is doing some of my favorite post-black and black gaze, and just done with vocals that really make it stand out amongst the rest and really make it better. So if you want to see what that genre is all about, give this one a shot.
Yeah, I really like this one. It's very intense, very emotional, way more dynamic than a lot of atmospheric black metal that you hear. Like, you can actually hear things better in it, like the guitar pieces over it and stuff, which makes it a lot more enjoyable on my end.
And there you go. That is Out Today and What I Missed for May 30th, 2025, even though it's recorded on June 1st, 2025. So what'd you think? Did I pick out some good albums, bad albums, anything I missed? Anything I should check out and review? Please let me know down below. Note, I had this grand plan of getting rid of my whole list of back reviews. Basically from June 6th all the way through the 27th. I think that's last Friday. I was just gonna purge and do all 30 albums a week till I was basically done with my whole back catalog. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you just have to admit failure. You know, you never want to be that 45-year-old guy standing outside of Yankee Stadium in your Yankees jersey. It's just like, oh, I'm just waiting for that day that I can try out, and I know I'm gonna make the team. No, sometimes you just have to know when you're just not going to be able to pull that off.
Sure.
So, unlike what I was telling you before, I am just going to be sticking to 20.
Okay.
Yes, I'm going to have a lot in the backlog and stuff like that, but I guess my thinking behind it is there's going to be some slower times coming up.
Yeah.
There's going to be some more times going on, and as long as I can get as much done as I possibly can before I do the year-end wrap-up of the top 100 albums of the year, it's okay to have some still in there.
Totally.
Is it possible it's going to be over 100 at some point to be able to choose from? Abso-fucking-lutely. And it probably will by June, by sometime in June.
Yeah.
But, you know, that some albums just aren't going to make it. Or I'm going to do like a mega list for the very last week where I cover everything that I did miss. Mm-hmm. We'll see what happens. But yeah, just normal things on schedule. Next week will be 490 albums we will have covered. See, the initial plan is I wanted to hit that even 500.
Yeah.
Because that sounds official.
Right?
I can't do that. I am just going to wear myself the fuck out.
Totally.
Because even today, even after being sick, I still got 13 albums done.
Yeah.
And then I looked at the 30 and it's like, that's not going to fucking happen. I have 2 interviews this week. It's just not going to happen.
It's too much.
So, yeah. That is basically it for Out Today and What I Missed. I should also point out that I did an interview back on Tuesday that you might have missed out on with Autis of Horrenda. This is Irish depressive suicidal black metal. I know it's not going to be for everybody, but I really dig what they're doing, and he couldn't have been a nicer guy. So I think you should go check that out on the HeavyDebriefings YouTube channel. I also have every album I reviewed in May 2025, which is all 100 albums that I covered last month. Some people don't even listen to 100 albums in general.
Right.
In their entire life.
Yeah.
I do that in a month, and I still feel like I haven't caught up. Mm-hmm. That's just the way that I am. So check those things out. Next week, we don't have a theme. Is there anything that sticks out to you? Yeah, that sounds about right. So yeah. we'll think of a theme for next week.
Yes.
Of course, we'll have Summer Game Fest is on Friday.
Oh, yeah.
So we'll be talking about all the video game news and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. You're not going to be gone this weekend, so we'll actually be able to take notes and stuff like that.
The next 2 weekends.
Yeah, the next
3 weekends.
3 weekends, yeah.
Yeah.
So we'll be back to doing Friday shows again.
Yeah.
So I won't feel like I'm trapped putting up the show and everything, so woohoo. Woohoo. So if we're still together for the Flea Brain,
Fingers
the Practical
crossed.
Goth, there's so much that we got to work on. The Keebler of the Seven Keys, I'll leave out the grading ones.
Thank
the
you.
Metal Fairy. This is Josh Runquist for episode 95 of the Heavy Debriefings podcast. Let me do my show, for Christ's sake! This is Josh Runquist saying, embrace the skullet.